Welcome to the season 2 premiere of Smark Foundation podcast. I am Aaron. This is Adam.
It is so good to be back. It's so good to be back, seeing your lovely face, hearing your lovely voice. Y'all can't see his lovely face, but it's lovely. Trust me.
I am super glad to be back as well, man. I missed you, my friend.
Oh,
I've missed
yeah.
doing this.
I've been itching. I've been just so sick.
Man.
It sucks. It sucks. The long and the short of it is, listeners, I got something. Turned out to be walking pneumonia. Didn't know until after the facts, after like a week when it had dissipated and then returned as a raging ear infection. The antibiotics and steroids kicked my butt for 2 days, then didn't work. And so I'm now finishing up another antibiotic to try and get rid of it. My ear is mostly fine. It's a little swimmy, but it doesn't hurt anymore. And my voice has mostly recovered, which you can certainly hear probably now that I have my brand spanking new mic. I sound all clear and not like, I'm being pushed through electrical garbage.
Unfortunately, mine still sounds the same because I have David Beckham for an Amazon driver, and he decided to mishandle my package and break my mic in the process. So I will have my problem fixed next week, and we will both sound very similar and nice and mixed for all you audiophile folks out there. But yeah, I mean, it's not even getting to the Amazon driver. He already got everything I could give him. So, yeah. So, other than that, Adam, how about for the last time live? Let's run through that social media and store info.
Yeah, this will be the last time y'all suffer through my clumsy, clunky, non-rehearsed version of this. So please join us on Blue Sky, our main social media outlet, at Smark FNDN podcast.bsky.social is the main account. Aaron's is aaronsmark.bsky.social. I am Adam Smark FNDN pod.bsky.social. You can find us elsewhere. I mean, you're listening to us now, so clearly you found us. But if you didn't know, you can also hear us on RSS /com/podcast/Smark Foundation. You can find us on Pandora. You can find us on Spotify. Probably not Apple because they're being jerks still. But you can also find us on YouTube at youtube.com/@Smark Foundation Podcast. And if you want to buy our merch, we also have a merch store at smarkfoundationpodcast.printful.me, where you can get a lovely t-shirt or a mug or a hoodie or a zip-up hoodie with our logo on it.
And incoming in the next couple of weeks will be brand new merchandise as well for season 2. We're going to have some really cool, I have some ideas and some really cool projects in the works that I think are going to make really great merchandise designs. So look out
I'd
for
like a
that.
mouse pad, personally.
I can definitely do a mouse pad. As far as products go, let me know what products y'all want. I'll make whatever with our logo on it. I mean, if you want a thong or a pair of undies with our logo on the front, I'll make it.
I mean, if Tommy Wiseau can have his own underwear, I don't see why we can't.
That is true. That is true. But I'll have some designs just for a little idea of what some of the stuff this week is going to look, or this season is going to look like. Be on the lookout for our classic raw logo Spark Foundation podcast hoodie.
Yeah, baby.
Which will be a zip up, I believe. We might have a lot of zip ups this year. But we are definitely going to have.
I mean, 'tis the season, ain't it?
Yeah, it is the season. It's cold outside, man. And I went outside in a tracksuit jacket. It wasn't doing it. I had to get a nice hoodie, and now I got to go buy a Smark Foundation hoodie so that when I want a nice hoodie, it's that hoodie.
And don't forget, like, just because Aaron is broadcasting from Texas, remember a couple years ago when the Texas senator left his people out in the cold? Texas does get cold in the wintertime. Don't be ignorant. Okay? Listen to Aaron.
Ladies and gentlemen who do not live in Texas may be surprised to know that currently there are 7.5 inches of snow on the ground outside, and we had a
That's more than
freak
there are here
blizzard.
in New York.
We had a freak blizzard on Friday in which I had to leave work early to go and rescue my daughter from school because they decided they were going to get the kids to school. And then because it snowed so heavily during the day, they didn't run the afternoon buses. So all the parents had to come and pick their kids up. It was terrifying. I actually had to drive across town to do a really important errand that had been in place for like a month in the middle of that day and take surface streets only because God forbid I get on the interstate in that weather.
Hmm.
Um, and to get around here quickly is interstate because everything's so spread out. So like I had to take surface streets and take like an hour to get where I was going and back, and it just I hate snow. Like I love snow so much because it really is beautiful and peaceful. Like at nighttime, you just go out and like stare at the snow. I hate it because I have to still live and do things in it. And as
Yeah.
an adult, that's not just sledding and building a snowman. That's driving and being terrified by semi trucks.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what it's like outside in Texas right now for anybody who doesn't know. And it's supposed to be even worse south of here, where it's supposed to be warmer. Like it's even worse. So
Can't tell me global climate change ain't real.
oh no, it
This is
definitely
not
is.
normal. It's not normal.
No, no, it's very rare instance. Like maybe this might have happened 4 times in my life, but three of those have been in like the last 15 years. So
Mm. Anyway, that ends the socio-political and
yeah,
part of the
what a way to
show.
start! What a way to start off season two, huh? By the way, everybody,
I mean,
this
y'all
is
know we're
our
lefties by this point, but like,
yeah, they have
come
to,
on.
they have to. But yeah, this is our season two premiere, folks. Welcome to the Smark Foundation podcast, where we like to talk positively about wrestling.
Yes, we are
Um,
definitely trying to put more positive space in more positivity in the wrestling space. That doesn't necessarily extend to other spaces,
oh
but
no,
in the wrestling space,
I'm a
we'll be
virulent
positive.
I'm a virulent and mean politicist. I'm a very positive, try to be nice wrestling fan. There are things I don't like, but I'm allowed to not like things, and so are you.
Yeah,
So just everybody,
yeah,
you're allowed to not like things, but just be good faith about it. Like just if you don't like something, don't be like this is a stupid booking decision. Just say I don't like it.
yeah.
That's the difference
I
between being
mean,
good faith and bad faith. It's literally that small line. Like
even questioning booking openly and plainly like that can still be in good faith. Attacking other people for what they like that you don't is not.
no,
It's not
no, it's
okay.
not. Yeah, we don't
It's really
attack
not.
for what they like or what they don't like. Adam and I have very different tastes in what wrestling
Yeah,
is and isn't, what we like and what we don't like.
yeah,
Actually, well, I don't think we have too much of a difference in what wrestling is or isn't because wrestling can be anything. We
yeah,
were just having a conversation about a food fight championship. So
yeah,
I mean, and I was enjoying the conversation and think it's a really cool concept. So like wrestling can be anything.
yeah.
There are, but I mean, there's also I trained into this business side
Yeah.
who's like, this is what I was taught at how, at what
It's
wrestling
a
is.
it's a Venn
Um,
diagram,
it is a bit of a Venn
you
diagram,
know.
so, but we're all here to enjoy wrestling. That's kind of the key. I don't want to be the same. And I know Adam doesn't want to be the same, like cantankerous, I hate wrestling fan that is apparent everywhere on the internet. We're different. We like to be different, and that's what we
Yeah.
do. And we're going to prove it even further in season two. I think we did a really good job in season one. I think we told some awesome stories that, especially ones that people had never heard before. I think
Yeah.
we covered really well, like how we got into this business and what we like about wrestling, what we love about wrestling. I think we had. I would toot our own horn so far as to say we had zero bad faith takes
I think so.
in
I
2024.
mean, we tried
So
at the very least.
yeah, and I don't feel like we disagreed or said we didn't like anything for any illegitimate reason.
Yeah.
And we definitely didn't attack anybody else for liking it if they did.
Yeah. That said, we're
So
not perfect people. And I think one thing, I mean, if you want to call it a New Year's resolution, go ahead, call it that. I'm not really big into New Year's resolutions, but it's a new year, it's a new season, and this is something that I want to improve upon for myself. So call it that if you want. But I think one thing I can improve is reminding myself that when I don't like something, it doesn't help just to point out that I don't like it, offer something in return. offer something that might work. It might not work, but at least it's a different idea of something that could maybe improve things. And
Mm-hmm.
I'll be the first to admit, I've said that on this show before, and I'm not always held up to that. But I want to change that. I want to be better about that going forward, personally. So here's my New Year's resolution, not New Year's resolution.
Uh, I said on Blue Sky
Call
on
me
New
on
Year's.
it.
Yeah,
Call me on it.
yeah, call us on it if you disagree with like I would love to I love sparring. So
Yeah.
if you wanna disagree with something we say, we can respectfully spar it out verbally
Yeah.
and have a good time doing it all over the Blue Sky feed. I have no problem doing any of that. I will interact with you all day long because I work right here at the same desk that I podcast from. So it's a lot of time for Blue Sky. So,
Yeah.
uh, but
I
yeah,
have less
so
time, but I always answer. I
yeah,
always
that's
answer. Get around to it.
so. That being said, we're gonna. I mean, I don't really have New Year's resolutions. I don't do New Year's resolutions. I just try to be better than I was last year. So that's kind of
Yeah.
where I'm at. If you disagree with anything I say, or if you call me on something, I will literally try to work on it. But I also am one to have my opinions. So please just understand that I'm strong-willed. Even
Yeah.
against myself, I'm strong-willed. It's incredibly harsh and hard to
Yeah.
grow.
Go back on YouTube because we just uploaded it. Go back on YouTube, and if you have 4 hours, no, just skip to the end. Skip to the end of our massive first ever episode of this show where we
Mhm.
talk about our fandom at length at the end of the show. And you will see and you will hear the first interaction that Aaron and I ever had. And that will tell you all you need to know about how we approach things in terms of a wrestling space.
Right, right.
Yeah.
I believe in growth
I
as an individual, though. So I
Yes.
actually would like to think that if I ran into like 20-year-old Aaron, that I'd be like, dude, you gotta chill out, man. Like you need to chill
Oh,
a
20-year-old
lot
Adam was
more.
much better. He
Uh,
just kept most of it off the internet.
right, yeah, yeah. Like
Yeah.
actually, I'd
That's
probably tell
okay.
20-year-old Aaron, you see how Adam does his thing, like how he doesn't get angry online. You should just listen, just do what he does.
Yeah. That being said, I left Twitter because I had issues talking with bad faith people about uh, a scenario that the long and the short of it was people who were arguing over this fictional scenario really showed who they were and showed where their priorities were. And I decided I was not going to put myself in a position where I was going to have to put myself in front of those people anymore. So yeah, it's like arguing against a brick wall. If their priorities are only themselves and not other people, you are not going to get through to them. So yeah, I'm
Right.
like, you know what? Blue sky completely alone. It is.
That's where I'm at right now too, especially with Meta's current changes in their what is a slur and what isn't and all that gets like
Yeah.
being able to call
Oh,
people who
but
are
didn't you
obviously
hear
not mentally ill mentally ill.
you're gonna have feet? I mean, you gotta stick around for feet.
I'd rather skip that and the AI generated users. Um,
Yeah. Let's get into the wrestling because we're
yeah,
we're we are tangentializing in a very
yes we
negative
are.
way for our
Yes we
very
are.
first episode back, and
We're
I
positive.
don't want that.
Right. So, let's go. let's kick it off with our lockup, which is going to be our Raw review this week. For those of you who are wondering about certain things that happened over the course of our break, like Wrestle Kingdoms and stuff like that, we are going to get to that. Okay, we're going to talk about those things because there's some stuff on Wrestle Kingdom that we can't ignore. Okay, like we're not going to talk about the whole card all the way down, but like if we talk about Kenny Omega and Gabe Kidd for 5 minutes, I don't think it's going to hurt anybody's feelings.
No,
So,
probably not.
but we'll start with Raw as we always do. This is probably going to be the shortest Raw review I've ever done in my life because there just really was not a lot to Raw this week. Um, It is a huge Raw. It's historic. It's the very first Raw on Netflix. There wasn't a lot going on here. I mean, there was, but there wasn't. It was the most beautifully large false thing I've ever seen. Like, I don't know how to put this. I loved it because you could definitely tell that they were like, we're going to up the production, we're going to up like the intensity, we're going to up everything. But then they forgot about the space in between all that stuff, which is where the wrestling goes. And they didn't really have a lot of wrestling. And okay, guys, like I do like WWE and I enjoy the wrestlers on WWE, but I am having a problem with how very little wrestling there was on this. Okay, I'm sorry, it's a wrestling show. There was not a lot of wrestling. I don't feel like that's a bad faith take, and I also don't feel like it's non-constructive. More wrestling, please. I
I think
understand
that
why.
was a one-off
Oh,
situation,
I believe
though.
that too. I think tomorrow night when
Big celebration, the whole thing.
yeah, as we record this tomorrow night or tonight, if you're listening to this after it releases on Monday, um, I think it's going to be back to mostly a normal Raw. I think a lot of this was to try to get casual eyes on it and make it bigger than it was. But honestly, I think it may have had the opposite effect because they kind of trotted Hulk Hogan out there, and like I know I'm front loading with all the bad stuff I didn't like, but there was enough for me to like that it's going to end positively. So other than the lack of wrestling and the aged racist, who I
Yeah.
will no longer further name, there was also a promo by a person who I also won't talk about because he's a scumbag. And that is 3 parts of Raw that I didn't like and I won't further talk about. Here we are. Now, the positives, the things I really did like about it, because the wrestling that was here was great. The wrestling that was here was really good. I mean, yeah, it was only 3 or 4 matches, but it was good, man. Like Solo and Roman open the show. They have a banger, completely overbooked, typical bloodline match, but it was cool. I really
I'm
think that
glad to
was
hear that because Solo isn't exactly known as a ring general.
no, he's not. He's not. But with Roman in there, Roman kind of is, I believe. So,
Yeah, at this
um,
point, you gotta think so. Yeah.
yeah. So Roman wins. The Rock shows up, and I think, oh great, here's where we start Rock Roman for WrestleMania. But instead, the Rock just like puts the Ulafala on him, like he takes it from Paul Heyman and he presents it to him. After they made this big deal about them actually making the Rock a high chief in Samoa,
Hmm,
so he has like a whole name and everything. Like he's actually a high chief there now. Which
that's pretty dope.
that is
I
pretty
like
cool
that.
actually. But then
Good
they
for
had
him.
this legitimate high chief come and present the Ulafala to Roman Reigns to, I guess, kind of legitimize him more storyline wise. But then he took his glasses off, kind of stared at him for a minute, and then they hugged each other, and they could audibly be heard telling each other they love each other. I love you, type stuff. Um, I feel like they might have missed an opportunity to have Rock like put the Ulafal on him and then a Rock bottom. But I
Well,
also hear that there's like some Moana 2 reshoots and some other stuff going on. And so, for the live action thing or whatever, I guess Moana live action or whatever, because The Rock's in it, but they're doing reshoots. And that's what I heard. I can't like off the top of my head corroborate where I even heard that, but I heard they were having some reshoots and it's possible that, he won't be able to be there for WrestleMania. So they did all this like where he's seen later in the back drinking with Cody, and they have no problems with one another. Where there obviously storyline line was totally a problem there that was probably going to be rectified at WrestleMania 41 or
yeah.
42 because this is 42 now. But yeah, so
Yep.
they were going to rectify this at WrestleMania 42, but then now they're seeing now then they had The Rock after drinking immediately get in his truck and start driving. Um, I really wish they.
Yeah, that's a.
I wish they
Yeah,
hadn't. That. I
it's
wish they
not
hadn't.
exactly. It's not exactly message conscious.
I think
Um.
I think a lot of the stuff I'm not liking is as a result of the TKO partnership, and I'm I'm really thinking that this TKO owning WWE might not turn out for the best. I think I honestly, if things continue to happen like that, like if things continue going that way, if a couple of things that I've predicted to happen do come to fruition, I might not be long for the WWE fandom. And it's just because there's only so many um, things I can let slide and still cover things, out of respect because I'm still covering WWE at this very moment out of respect for the wrestlers who compete in the company.
And for you
Um,
guys too, who I mean, we're not trying to sow division and take one side over the other.
no, no,
We want to cater to all fans of wrestling.
yeah, I'm
So
just
yeah,
recognizing what
it
my
makes
heart
sense
tells.
to cover the biggest brand in all of sports entertainment.
It does, it
Makes
does.
sense.
But I'm only going where my heart's telling me, and
Yeah.
there's only so many things you can let slide after a while. And I understand why people don't watch this product, and I understand because they make stupid decisions sometimes. The Rock drinking and driving was a stupid decision. Pulling out Hogan on the show at all was a I don't care if he was there to shield his beer that you have a partnership with. That was a dumb decision. I really hope they take the AEW route, like AEW did with Ric Flair after that backlash, and like execute that contract as quickly as possible and get him the hell out of there.
Yeah.
Like just do what you got
Say
to
what you
do.
want about that partnership in and of itself, but they did pivot.
Yeah, they
Like, I mean,
pivoted.
they used him when they felt they needed to, or when he was contractually, you know, allotted to. They introduced him into this thing, so he had to kind of be there for the end of it. But like, yeah, I mean, they pivoted as best they could after some, uh, let's say, I wouldn't
Some
say harsh.
backlash.
I would say justified, but rather loud criticism.
Right, right. Justified though.
Ooh.
All at the but let's. I'll just continue on because I mean I know I keep hitting on things that I didn't like, but I mean, come on WWE, you're like doing like you're hand in hand great and crap. Like just
Yeah.
lose the crap hand and let's go. Like it's
Yeah.
just stop promoting people that suck and stop doing things like this. Like it's really simple.
Yeah.
um so okay, we had a women's world championship match. We've all been waiting for Rhea Ripley to get her hands on Liv Morgan. For a second there, it looked like this match was going to end like every other match of theirs has ended, and Liv was going to get an oblivion on the chair. Rhea blocked it this time. Ended up hitting her, I think, with 2 riptides, and wins the championship. So Rhea Ripley back to women's world champion. Um, I'm totally cool with it. Uh,
I mean, it was past time,
it
wasn't
was
it?
past time. Yeah, I don't know where Charlotte Flair or Becky Lynch is going, but I think it's time for both of them to return. Um, because of the 2 champions that we have now. And I actually kind of want Charlotte Flair to go over and face Tiffany Stratton. I think that'd be a banger. They both got a killer moonsault, man. It would just be like an aerial battle between the two
Well,
of them. It'd be great.
Charlotte just needs to learn to not over rotate when she's doing it to the floor. She's going to kill somebody, and it might be her.
That might be. We had Jey Uso versus Drew McIntyre. Super banger match. Like Jey Uso making up every day for that WrestleMania match. Like he is doing some killer work now. Him and Drew McIntyre meshed really well as far as the power dynamic and stuff like that. It was just a good match. Um, I'm pretty sure it's just Drew running through all the old bloodline before he get. I don't know if he's going to get to the new blood. Like I still don't know how this works. Like,
I mean, you've got to figure he'll go at Solo.
oh yeah, Solo's part of
And
the old bloodline, but if he's going to go at Solo, he's going to have to go at the new bloodline. So
yeah, so yeah.
so like
Um,
this is a really long Drew McIntyre story we're starting to tell here. If this is how it's going to go.
yeah.
Like this is at least 2 months if you
And
do
you can
one guy
tell,
every week, like
I guarantee you, Jimmy Uso is going to get his rear end
oh
handed to
he
him. He's always
absolutely
the whipping
is.
boy.
Oh
He's
he is, poor guy.
always the whipping boy.
So then we had the match that literally everybody was waiting for, the entire reason wrestling fans tuned into this show, and that is CM Punk versus Seth freaking Rollins. And I had seen some people say that Seth had won one of the promo battles leading up to this, but that just is their opinion.
Subjective.
That is objective and it is their opinion, and I do not share it. And that is as far as I will go. I believe CM Punk clean swept all of these promos, and I also believe that he deserved the win and got it. The match was great. However, someone after and I was almost mad that they pointed this out to me because why did I have to know this? But he did a spot where he got the knee, he hit the knee on Rollins, and Rollins dozed off into the ropes and back. And CM Punk fell on his knees, and Rollins fell on top of him. At which point he lifted Rollins up and gave him to go to sleep, which is exactly what he did to John Moxley like 8 months ago, or 10 months, or whatever the last 10, 12. No, it's been more than a year now, hasn't it?
Yeah. So
Uh,
you
so 16 months
two and a
ago or
half, two and a
so,
half, 2.5 years ago.
two and a
It
half
was
years.
it was the All Out pay per
Okay,
view
so
that it was 2022. It was All Out 2022 where Brawl Out happened.
so did we have to do that, guys? But other than that, match was a bang. They beat the hell out of each other, man. It was good. It was really good.
I'm wondering, like, I don't necessarily see that as a slight so much as, I mean, Rollins, so far as I know, Rollins and Mox are still friends, still on good terms,
Now,
even
I mean, if that
though,
was just like Rollins giving like them two giving a
yeah,
shout out to Mox, like maybe
I
even
think
Punk
that's
saying
more
like,
likely.
yeah, I mean, like even if Punk's like no heart, because I mean, I've never heard of drama with Punk and Moxley, so maybe they
Yeah,
don't have a problem. Maybe
the
this is a shot at AEW,
the
or maybe
closest I've ever
know,
heard of drama between them is maybe some of Moxley's promos hitting a little too close to home on his actual thoughts regarding him. But like, I don't know. To me, like if I was in Mox's position, I would probably have been really annoyed with Rollins in 2019 when he started making those comments about how, oh, you're taking food off my table. It's like, what are you talking about? Like,
no,
you're
he's
one
not.
of my best friends, and you're talking about me working somewhere else where I am happier as taking food off. You're a millionaire. There's nobody taking food off your table, Seth. Get over yourself. That's
He's
one
a
of the big reasons why they needed to turn him heel, is because he kept making those really homer kind of comments in the face of AEW as this brand new startup that was just getting on TV, and his one of his best friends was at the helm of it, being like one of the main attractions of it, and he couldn't just help but crap on it because he's Seth and he puts his foot in his mouth. But that was 5.5 years ago. So
yeah.
I am sure that if there was ever any animosity over that, if it was me, there would be. But I can't speak for Moxley. If there was anything, I'm pretty sure that's been smoothed out by now. So I think that it's more likely that that was Rollins's way of sending a wink and a nod to his friend in the other company. I think people are making way too big a deal about the finish about it. I think it was a friendly gesture. I do not think that it was a shot across the bow. I
Well,
think that's silly.
it wasn't shoehorned in either, and we naturally progressed to that point and got the spot. Like, so it wasn't like I didn't realize that it was the same exact spot. Like I didn't understand
Yeah.
because I just didn't remember.
Yeah, it was 2.5 years ago.
Yeah, so but I mean, I didn't see that it was the same spot. I mean, some people have way better memories than I do, obviously. But I don't think it was a shot. I wasn't shoehorned into the match in spite or anything like that. So it was just naturally part of the progression. Now, is it the exact same spot? Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh
Um,
yeah. Oh, it totally is.
do I think it's a pro? No, nobody on either side has like said anything negative about the other
No.
in any relation to it. So I'm not really worried about that part. The only other thing from this show that I want to cover is that we got a John Cena appearance, and I love John Cena appearances. Famously, as some people might know, I wore a John Cena shirt to WrestleMania 25 and almost got into a fight with a man cosplaying as the Undertaker.
Yeah,
Uh,
that was fun.
he called me so he called me childish for wearing a John Cena shirt
When he was dressed
while dressed
as
as
the
the Undertaker.
Undertaker.
So you could just imagine.
Oh
We will
boy.
tell that story one day, like in full. But
Yeah.
a lot of people already
That
know it.
that
I told
reminds
it
me a
online
lot
at
of
lunch.
yeah. I mean that reminds me a lot of the time 2 years later when the Hall of Fame ceremony, the line again in the building in Atlanta, somebody was dressed as Shawn Michaels circa 1995 with the chaps and the chain top and everything. It was kind of awesome and the worst thing ever at the same time.
I mean, like you're at the Hall of Fame.
He had the
I
little
wore a
hat.
suit.
He had the little hat and
Oh my
everything,
god!
the long chain earrings. Like he went full stripper Sean. Like
Like if we
it
didn't know that
was
was Shawn Michaels, we would have thought he was at the wrong convention.
yeah. This was also the same line where because it was Atlanta, because there was of course this guy. There was a guy who wasn't in line. He was he was telling us we were all going to go to hell because we were interested in wrestling. But the best part about it, he was like, when you get there, Satan's gonna pick you up and body slam, body slam you into the lake of fire. It was the best. It
Hell
was the
sounds lit.
funniest thing. It was great. Oh,
Oh man, okay. So, but
we
yeah,
have
so we had the John
stories,
Cena thing.
guys.
John Cena talks about in this thing. He's like, I'm gonna have some good matches, and I'm on my way out. I got X amount of time left. He's like, now I know a lot of people are talking about how maybe I should get that 17th world title, and I have talked about that, and I have said yes, John Cena should win that 17th world championship to break that record.
I agree.
Um, and he says no. I'm not going to do that. He's like, there's no way for me to win the world. He said, but then like the people start chanting, you deserve it. You please, whatever. And he goes, wait a minute. It's like, maybe I could be champion. He's like, but to do that, he's like, I'm not number one contender. He's like, I can't just, he's like, I don't have enough time to just wrestle my way up to number one contendership.
That never stopped John Cena before,
That's true.
to be
Um,
fair.
so he's now declared for the Royal Rumble.
All right.
I'm with
Get
it.
him in. Get him in while it's not in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, for sure. Because I'm totally not watching that show. For full disclosure, folks, Royal Rumble 2026 will not be covered here, unfortunately.
Sad times.
I am sad about that.
Times.
I've never missed a Royal Rumble. Yes, I
I'm
even
so
watched that
depressed.
50-man abomination in Saudi Arabia the first time. I'll never do
Oof.
that again. Um,
Oof.
I've never missed a Royal Rumble. I'm so sad about it. Like you guys don't
Mm.
understand, like that. I cannot morally do it. Okay, and it makes me sad. But that's
But
what it
that's a year
is.
away.
That's a year
That's a
away.
year
We're
away.
not thinking about it. We're happy right now. And happy right now is John Cena's going to be in this year's Royal Rumble, which is like next month. So freaking awesome. But yeah, that was it. That was really, there wasn't a lot to Raw. Yeah, we had a lot to talk about, but that's because WWE made some good decisions, some really good ones, and some really bad ones. And I'm really excited to kind of see what this week is on Netflix. I think it's going to be kind of back to the same Raw that we're used to. And maybe a little bit more of a mix, but only because they're probably going to try to keep some of those casuals they got last week, who are going to come back this week. I don't know how many people watch Squid Game, but Netflix made a big deal about this. So cool.
Yeah.
Let's get.
I think they said they had like 8 million viewers live, something
That's
like that.
wild, man. Like that's pretty
Yeah.
good. That's
Those are
cool.
attitude era numbers.
That is attitude era numbers. That's good shit, man. But let's see how. I mean, I'm not really worried about the ratings, but I am curious to see how many
Yeah,
casuals
I
stuck
think everybody's
around. Like,
curious.
I'm curious, man. Like, I'm not gonna say WWE shit because they'll lose like half that next week, but
Mm.
but I think they kind of expect it. So do we. I mean
Yeah, that's the
that's not
nature
gonna.
of the beast.
Yeah,
It
it's just what it
happens
is.
literally every time.
Yeah, yeah. I want to. I actually want to see what the AEW numbers for Max were because I bet they were huge. I bet they
That
were
I don't know.
huge.
I
Um,
bet they were. I bet they were good, which is weird because like that first show was kind of. I mean, yeah, I won't go over in depth because it was last week, but it was kind of okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like it wasn't like a great Dynamite. It was okay. So like honestly, they say most of their good stuff for this week.
Oh yeah, dude.
So
This
this
week
week
and
was good.
next week, holy dude,
Yeah,
gosh, I am
I'm
just
excited about next week. I am totally stoked
I have to
for
watch way too
the
much
women's
wrestling.
gauntlet. The women's
Oh,
gauntlet.
dude, me
I
too.
am
I'm so stoked for it.
really, really excited
Let
for that.
Harley Cameron win. Please let Harley Cameron win.
Well, I mean, if it's not going to go to Tony Storm, it should go to another Australian.
I wouldn't be mad, but I bet Tony
Woo!
Storm's going to win and then she's going to win in Australia. So,
Yeah, I
um,
mean, we'll talk about that in a little bit.
yeah, we will. We will. But yeah, that's it for Raw this week. Look, dude, Raw was good. Yes, WWE made some stupid decisions, but okay, you got to admit, one, the Intuit Arena is like the best wrestling arena in the world. Like they had lights in the seats that were part of the entrances and stuff like that. Like
I
it was cool, man. It
I
was so
saw some of
cool.
the cameras shots from this show. Like, holy cow, the one where they went like all around, like
Mm-hmm.
the one side of the arena. I've never ever seen wrestling shot like that before. That was
Never.
incredible.
It was so good.
Well,
It was so good.
absolutely stellar production.
Mm-hmm.
Like Kevin Dunn getting out of there was the
Best thing.
best thing for them.
Best thing
They
that.
needed a refresh after having the same presentation for 20 plus years, and
Mm-hmm.
it has served them visually so well.
It has.
I'm
It
so
has.
glad for them. So pumped for the new presentation that they have.
Yeah, we'll see. So yeah, I mean, we'll see how it goes. But I mean, I was super impressed with the production. I thought they're going in the right way. I thought the CM Punk win was really good. Everybody had great matches. So I mean, let's just put a couple more matches on next week's show and keep going with it. You know, I mean, that's really all I can ask. No Hogan, please. But I don't think he's coming back. I think he probably got what what the fans were thinking. Because he was booed, but like he was booed so hard that the subtitles said he was getting booed, and that don't never happen. So
Yeah. They don't
uh,
like to admit
no,
that.
they don't. So yeah, Raw was good except for the couple of things, and I ignore most of that stuff because I just
Yeah,
in some things I can't. So,
gotta
but
cover it, but yeah.
I cover it. But yeah, I don't have to enjoy it, and I don't enjoy the same things you guys don't enjoy. So I hope WWE makes better decisions in the future regarding Raw, and get some more wrestling on that show. But yeah, other than that, it was the big event it was supposed to be, and a lot of celebrity appearances and all that stuff. It was what it was supposed to be. So let's see what happens next week. When they try to keep casuals, but also please a very largely unpleased audience of hardcore fans. So it's impossible. I'd like to see how they try, though.
I mean,
You
we'll
can't please
see.
us both. We're going to see how it goes.
If this was 3 years ago, I'd say they'd find a way, but I'm not so sure now.
We'll see. We'll see. We're Triple H is booking about to get put to the test for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, that
All right.
was it for Raw.
All right. So here we are at the Shine, which this week is AEW Dynamite. Second week on Max. First week had some hits and misses. I won't really go over it because I mean, we'll be here forever talking about it. What it did was set up most of what happened this week. So we kicked off the show with Will Ospreay versus Buddy Matthews, which it was predictably awesome. Uh, Buddy
Yeah, it
Matthews
was.
is Buddy Matthews. I remember when he was in WWE under the Buddy Murphy name, and they tagged him as what was it? It was the the best kept secret,
Mm-hmm.
and it is because he's so good, but like nobody talks about him because he's hardly ever in these positions where he has a chance to really showcase himself. That roster is stacked from top to bottom
Oh
with
yeah.
honestly just too many guys. The problem is most of them are super talented. I don't really want to see any of them let go. So, yeah, I mean, Buddy Matthews finally had kind of a showcase. He did a few weeks ago against Adam Cole too. This match was better though because it had Will Ospreay in it, and he is the best wrestler currently working full time, full stop. Uh, Honestly, this one I could have taken 10 more minutes of this. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was great. Uh, Osprey wins. Running blade or hidden blade. But yeah, I mean, it was great. He got on the microphone afterwards, and they started uh, a story to kind of basically explain why the House of Black is going to break up in kayfabe, because the real reason is that Malachi Black probably isn't going to resign with AEW. So, I mean, you know what? Have him go back to WWE. His wife works there. Have him work with his wife. Like God, like go be with Zelina. Like have a million matches with Andrade again. It was great. It was great the first time in NXT. It'll be great on the main roster again. It's great. But he said, he even actually slipped up and called him Buddy Murphy at first. Oh, I hope they don't get sued. Um, um, but yeah, Matthews was really, really put over by Osprey on the mic afterwards, saying that I've wrestled you, I've wrestled Brody. You guys don't need to be in this group with Malachi Black. Basically, he's like, you don't need the House of Black. You can go do your own thing if you want to. You definitely got the talent. I'm glad to share the ring with you at any time. And he implied that he would even be his tag team partner. So I think that would be cool, honestly. Because if you're not going to strap up Will with a world title belt, you might as well have him tread water in the tag team, honestly. And Buddy Matthews, my God, like a lot of people make the comparison, like Buddy Matthews is like basically like budget Kenny Omega, because they do a lot of the same kind of stuff in the ring. Like they do like a lot of the same moves, the knees and stuff like that. I think that that's a little mean, but given what happens at the end of this show, which I'll get to in a minute, it's kind of an enticing prospect to have Buddy Matthews, who's been described as that, possibly fitting into what they set up at the end of this show. So I think that, then maybe there's some legs there. It's at least an interesting thought. Um, from there, Private Party comes out. Love Private Party. So happy for them. They're finally getting this chance to shine. They have their little like VIP section up there, and MVP comes out with the Hurt Syndicate. And he brings up, and I love when they bring continuity into this. He's like, this VIP thing, I did that. Like, I invented that. And it's true. The VIP lounge for a while was a talk show that MVP hosted on SmackDown. Like, it was a great shout out. I love it because we've been conditioned so long. Like, you hear interviews with people like Adam Copeland and Jericho and people like that with when they talk to Chris Van Vliet or whoever, and they bring up that like Vince McMahon really undersold how much the fans remember. Like wrestling fans are devoted. Like, I mean, you always have your newer fans who haven't been around as long, they don't remember as much, they don't delve into the history or whatever. You're always going to have that because you're always creating new fans. That's not a bad thing. But for the fans who have been around, I think I wouldn't say more than any other fandom, but just as much as any of the really, really devoted fandoms like Star Wars or whatever. Wrestling fans love to be rewarded for their memories. They love to be rewarded for remembering continuity. So this kind of stuff right here hit me as like, yeah, I get that reference. I know what he's talking about. Love that stuff. Give me more of that stuff. But yeah, he comes in and he's putting over Private Party. That's another great thing about MVP. He's a great mouthpiece because he knows, like any good heel manager knows, you don't bury your babyface opponents. You put them over, and then put your guys over is better, because beating a nobody serves nobody. You beat somebody, you become somebody. You are somebody. So you put over Private Party. You guys are great. You guys are great. But we're coming after your tag belts. I don't know why they gave that to Bobby Lashley, black hole of charisma that he is. I don't know why they didn't just have MVP say it. Even Shelton, who isn't the greatest talker either, would have been better to deliver that line than Bobby Lashley. but they gave it to Bobby Lashley because he's the big mean one. So, like, but yeah, they come out. Bobby was dressed to wrestle because he had a match with Mark Briscoe next. The match was okay. I'll say it was better. I think it was better than Lashley's match with Swerve because at least Mark got a little bit more offense in. It was a little bit more even. Briscoe obviously has that unhinged, crazy kind of thing that he does where he's kind of unpredictable. Um, so I mean, he was the one. I mean, I don't think anybody thought that he was going to be the one to get the pin on Fletcher in the Continental Classic, the
Oh
first guy to
no.
pin him. I don't think anybody pegged him for it, but he worked. That unpredictability surrounding Mark Briscoe is such a boon for him. It serves him so well. But yeah, he gets a sliding Larry, he gets a froggy bow. Lashley kicks out at one. I don't know how I feel about it, but the crowd was like, "Oh crap!" And then Briscoe got murdered. So you got that spear, you got the Dominator, he passed out to the Hurt Lock. I mean, whether you like Bobby Lashley or not, I could take him or leave him personally, but they are making the man look very good. They are pushing him very strongly. They're pushing the whole Hurt Syndicate very strongly. And we're going to talk about an aspect of this later in the show. Spoiler alert. Something that I really, really enjoy that I want to see more of. But yeah, I like this segment too. Casino Gauntlet was next. And honestly, I thought the story that I told was probably one of the better gauntlets. Like everything had its especially towards the beginning. It kind of tapered off a little at the end, but especially towards the beginning, it was like, okay, number one we knew was Jay White. Number two, I don't think anybody expected Hangman Page to be number two. It's like, oh, we're getting into it right away, huh? Oh, all
They
right. And
just
then
started off hot.
Wheeler Yuta comes out to be the whipping boy of the match. Oh, poor Wheeler. ever since he committed to being Death Rider, all he does is get his rear head kicked from pillar to post. Oh, he chose the wrong side. Screw Wheeler Yuta. Anyway, um, and then this was great too. I love this stuff. Yuta was Jay and Yuta were down, and number 4 comes out, and you hear whose house, and Adam Page's eyes. It's like he told a million stories with his face, and then it gets cut off with that crappy Ricochet laugh, and I'm like, oh, now that's just a great troll job. You want heel heat, you got heel. Like, okay, real talk, real talk. Okay, this happened during the break, so we haven't had a chance to talk about it on the air. We're not fans of Ricochet the person. Okay, he kind of showed his butt a little bit on the internet in the last 4 weeks. Not really a big fan of him as a person. But that was a great booked troll job. I adored it. I thought it was fantastic. Because everybody wanted Swerve, and that too, it means that Swerve wasn't on the show, which means that he was selling the beating and the scissors that he took from Ricochet last week too. So he wasn't just like, oh, the scissors didn't mean anything. I'm Arn Anderson. Scissors don't mean crap. But
I made almost the same joke because I skeeted there. God, did I just say skeeted? Oh, no, I didn't.
Oh no!
Um,
Oh no! They got you.
I posted on Blue Sky that that not since Arn and Sid have scissors been used so effectively in wrestling,
Yeah,
and it's true.
yeah.
That's like,
True.
I'm
I thought
sorry.
that was a strong segment. I thought that really, really established Ricochet as somebody that wasn't just a flippy, annoying guy, but also a threat. Like I'm not a big fan of him endorsing Andrew Tate. I'm not a big fan of him hanging out with people who should not be around 100 feet within a school. But I'm begrudgingly a fan of his booking in this character. Like, I think that it's certainly the most personality the dude has ever been allowed to show. Like, when you're a small flippy guy, you don't really need much personality because you can do all the stuff that everybody else can't do. That's amazing. It's also always going to get a pop. You don't need to work that hard on your personality. But now he's in the company of the flippy guys who can do all the same stuff that he did because they grew up watching him. So he needs to set himself apart somehow. And this character, I mean, as far as being a heel, it's hitting for me. I don't want to praise him, but fair is fair. And his booking since, with the heel turn has been really good, I feel. From there, a whole bunch of great, whole bunch of big names in this. Adam Cole was in here. Freaking, I mean, all the Undisputed Kingdom, really, except the actual Kingdom, was in here. Powerhouse Hobbs comes in. What's his face? Murder Hawk Monster comes in. Like, he was just throwing dudes around.
They played catch with Wheeler Yuta for like 15 minutes.
Yeah. They just yeeted him across the ring.
I laughed so hard at that, dude. Like, I laughed so hard at that.
It's so satisfying when it's Wheeler because he chose the wrong side and he's paying for it. It's nice to see karma kind of enact itself. But yeah, finish comes when, of all people, Kyle O'Reilly gets spine busted and pinned by Powerhouse Hobbs. I don't think anybody had that in the cards. That's fantastic. Good for Hobbs. Dude has been killing it since he came back. He's going to kill it later in this podcast when I talk about Collision. No, dude, it may not have been anybody's first, second, or maybe even 10th choice, but I mean, I think he's making the most of his opportunity here. He looked great. He's over as a mean baby face. He's getting kind of, I think he's the only one. I think they've now, instead of chanting meat at any big hoss, they're only chanting meat for Hobbs. So it is now Hobbs's thing. So I would adopt that wholeheartedly. Take it on. I think he's going to embrace it with open, big, meaty man arms, and he's just going to make it his own now that Miro is nowhere to be found and hasn't been for a year. So it's funny because it was that match that, yeah, I'm a big fan of this. I mean, he's not going to win. He's not going to
I don't think so either.
But, I mean, he had a fantastic match with Takeshita at World's End. Like, I mean, Hobbs has always been a blue chipper, but man, and Takeshita can have a good match with a mop. Even after it's been through the wood chipper when Raven put it through there. But fact of the matter is, like, he's on the rise, and I'm glad for it.
Yeah, me too.
Jeff Jarrett was also a participant in there, but for some reason, Yuta decided he was important enough to attack on the ramp.
Yeah,
like he's just Jeff Jarrett, man. He's not going to win this thing. He's an old man. Why are you like? I know you're a heel, and he's the only one that you could conceivably beat up in this match because everybody hates you and everybody's targeting you, Wheeler Yuta.
I don't think that Jeff Jarrett is conceivably beat up by Yuta.
Well,
Yuta's still very little.
He could be stretched. He could be stretched by Yuta, but that's not what happened. He was chased off by Yuta, and he only returned after the finish. And that's where MJF comes in, and I do like what MJF said, that, I want my Triple B back. But it looks like a lot of work. Like, that's very him. It's like, his whole character is, he's a smarmy prick who could conceivably be one of the best of all time. But he's too lazy. Like, that's why he's booked so infrequently in the ring, is not because he can't go, it's because it enhances his character
Hmm.
to not wrestle. You want to see him get his rear end handed to him, and it doesn't happen often enough for your liking because he's not booked to wrestle that often because that's part of his character. It's kind of brilliant, actually. And it's going to be smart for him in the long run, too, because he's not putting his body through the wear and tear that these other guys are. And he's managed to do it in the service of his character and make it work. He's a
Yeah.
really, really smart guy for that. But yeah, he basically had a segment with Jarrett in the ring where he's like, "Oh, I could help you. I could help you win it. You just give me the mat, the first title shot when you do." And Jarrett rebukes him and he's like, you know, shove off. So it looks like they're going for a weird feud between MJF and Jeff Jarrett of all people.
Dude, I mean, as much as I don't really want to see him on TV that much because of his age, and Jeff Jarrett is a valuable resource to be at AEW just because of his depth of wrestling knowledge. I mean, it's good to have him there. Okay.
I would rather
Um,
he stay backstage.
I would
Personally.
rather he stay backstage, but
Yeah.
if for lack of a better option to give, because a lot of other people who would be a good option to put in the ring with MJF are in other story like that would be at the
Yeah.
level that they need to be. Because I mean, Jeff Jarrett, whether we like it or not, is a legendary name in wrestling. So
Yeah.
he's able to serve in an area where we don't really have a lot for MJF right now because almost everybody else in the main event scene is tied up in either the Death Riders thing or the Hurt Syndicate thing, or Hangman and Swerve. Um, because of that, there's just not a lot to give MJF right now unless we inserted him into one of those things. So what
Honestly,
we
it would not surprise me if MJF's requested this specifically to work with Jeff Jarrett, knowing the student of the game that MJF is.
yeah, I mean, I would love to work a classic Memphis wrestler if I were a young 20 something wrestler today, and there's not
Yeah.
a whole lot of classic Memphis wrestlers still active. I think Jeff Jarrett might be the only one actually
Oh boy.
that actually is in the ring and is physically fit and is
Yeah.
working at a high level and is a solid hand in the ring.
Mm.
So this is a great. I think for
It's
where
a nice
AEW
little
is with all the
distraction
other
for him,
stuff. Yeah, it's good for
I
MJF because
guess.
he'll learn some. He'll learn in the ring from Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah.
But he it also, if they're going to work together, he's going to sit down and get to pick his brain for a little while. And I would love MJF to employ some of the Jeff Jarrett chicken shit heel tactics.
Yeah.
It would work. It would work really good, and he would do them really well too.
Yeah.
Like not the corny way that Jeff Jarrett sometimes did, in his day. But I think this is a good matchup because it's a good learning experience for MJF, but also it's a good way to kind of reward Jeff Jarrett for what he's doing because he
Yep.
has
Yeah.
been the company has been impacted positively by him since his
Yeah.
arrival. So
I get. I mean, in a backstage capacity, yeah, I think so. I don't know what he adds on screen personally. Not, it doesn't hit for me. My buddy
there were
Ben is
times where
very
there's
much different, but
hey, maybe me and Ben get along because
I bet you would.
because I mean there were times when we needed a super annoying heel, and Jeff Jarrett and his faction provided exactly what we needed in that case. I
I
also
will
really like
say,
the Mark Briscoe not knowing, like the turning on Jay Lethal and like that whole thing. I really was entertained by that whole thing with Mark Briscoe's interaction with them, even though I didn't really want it to happen in the first place. It turned out to be
yeah,
entertaining, so
I
I'll give
I'll
him.
say this: if we get MJF dressing up like with the straps, like Jeff Jarrett circa 1995, with the weirdness, the strappy gear. I think this will all be worth it because that is a hilarious image
They're going to
in
be
my mind.
Burberry straps too.
Oh, of course they will. Of course they
Oh,
will.
oh.
They'll be plaid, and it'll be great. It'll be great.
That's one of
It'll be
my
a
favorite
Burberry
things I got for
cowboy hat,
Christmas.
right? Yep.
I should be wearing it
From
now, but that's my favorite thing I got for Christmas was I got this Burberry scarf, and I wear it fucking everywhere. And for some reason, I'm not wearing it right now.
ah, missed opportunity. Next up, Copeland, who's going by Cope now. Like I feel like that's okay. Let's be real here. Edge was a dumb name. Edge was a dumb name. We just got used to calling him that because wrestling's full of weird stuff, and you just get used to it after a while. Um, that being said, I hope that Cope. I prefer Cope more as a nickname than as a. This is his name now. Like,
Yeah.
eh. The only thing I hope is that he brings back the crooked sharpshooter holds that he used once upon a time and calls it the Cope and Seed. And I want that's what I want. I because
Okay.
I mean that's current. That's with it. That's trendy and hip and it's what you kids say, right? Uh, but yeah, he comes out and he explains that I don't care about anything else that you did, but you attacked my boys FTR. I don't know if you knew that we're super close or whatever, but that's not happening. So I came back, and I'm not like anybody else. You've blah 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 blah. It was kind of it explained it, but it wasn't like super duper interesting, whatever. Um, Death Riders come in and they kind of come in waves, which was kind of smart. I thought it was like, okay, well, you think it's only a couple of us, so we weed out, so we get FTR to come out like we, and that's when Moxley comes in. Shafir and Moxley come in at the very end when they don't think that the rest that when they think they've seen everybody, they haven't.
Mhm.
So like it's like I'm one step ahead because I've got FTR. No, you're two steps behind because I anticipated that and I'm setting this traffic. So it established them as smart. Uh, Moxley chokes him out with the bulldog choke, and then he grabs a plastic bag because that's what he does to people that he doesn't feel service wrestling anymore. He murders them by asphyxiation. But then Powerhouse Hobbs comes out is the right call because if you've only got a week to establish the guy, you need him in this segment to be seen as a threat. So he comes out, he yeets Yuta into like practically into the stands. He
Mhm.
destroys Pac. He comes in, he targets Mox. Claudio comes in to try to intercept. He eats a spine buster. And while his back is turned, Moxley, who already has a chair, whacks him on the back with it. Hobbs no sells it, turns around, swats it out of his hand, and Moxley powders, hiding behind Shafir on the way out so he can make sure that Hobbs doesn't follow him. That part of the segment I thought was more effective than the promo, personally. Um, I don't dislike Cope. I really don't. But I don't you know, I would say that I would very much like to see him and FTR take the trios title from Death Riders. But I couldn't really. He's treading water trying to get the world title from Mox. Like it's just, I don't
Mhm.
know. It's that part's not hitting it for me. That may change. Um, Triple threat for the number one entrant in next week's Casino Gauntlet: Willow Nightingale, Tony Storm, Chris Statlander. I really thought Tony Storm was going to win because they've
I did
been
too.
building her up, building her up, building her up. It makes sense to push her as the opponent, even with this character that she's got where she's like an amnesiac and doesn't realize that she's been there for 3 years, which I think is, uh, God, Tony's a genius. I love her so
Is she
much.
an amnesiac though, or is
Oh no,
this
God no.
timeless
Oh
Tony
no, no.
Storm
This
playing
this
Tony
is
Storm?
this is timeless Tony Storm's greatest performance ever.
I mean, I think
This is what she's gonna win an Emmy for because it's on TV. It's not in a film. It's an Emmy. So I hate when people say, "Oh, they should win an Oscar for this." It's like it's on TV. It's not a film. It would win an Emmy. Dummy.
Adam is so. For those of you
I'm
who
way
see this,
over.
Adam is so into this that he slammed his desk so hard that his camera moved.
Yeah, I'm. I I get irrationally upset about it. I apologize. But Tony didn't win, and in fact, she took the pin in this match, which I didn't
Yeah,
say. I did not see that coming at all. Chris picks up the win with the Saturday Night Fever clean as a sheet. Um, she's trying to do some rehabbing of her relationship with Willow. They didn't touch on it as much as I hoped they would in this match, though. It was just kind of a match. Like, it was a
Mm-hmm.
decent match, but it was just kind of a match. Like, they had the fans knew the interactions between Willow and Statlander had history, but like they didn't go out of the performers themselves didn't even really go out of their way to show that like it should have been a bigger deal than it was. And I'm kind of disappointed that it wasn't. It's like this is the first time these two have touched since their crazy street fight from what was it, All Out? Like
Mm-hmm.
it was like that was 6 months ago now almost. Like, you know, there was last week there was a promo that Stat interrupted from Willow, where she's like, trying to do right by her, and she helped her out when she was getting double teamed by Penelope Ford and Harley Cameron. Uh, but like, there was nothing in this match that an outside observer who didn't have all that prior knowledge, you would just think that they were just people competing in a match. That there wasn't any history, significant history there. There wasn't this big long story that took the better part of a year to tell. Like, it was disappointing that they didn't touch on it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, if I had like one really big complaint about the show, it was that. It was like it was the missed opportunity there. I mean, they
Mm-hmm.
didn't even really say too much about it on commentary, which I thought was really strange. Because usually, especially Excalibur is very on top of things when it comes to like explaining story beats. But yeah, like the match was great, but I feel like it was better. It would have been better served if, even if like at the very, if the match had been structured as Tony trying to basically getting involved so that Willow and Stat couldn't really have a one-on-one confrontation until like 5 minutes in, and then you
Mm-hmm.
have like a stare down, and then you have like an emotional moment. I feel like that even that small thing would have been like, oh yeah, this is important beyond just this the stakes of this match. Um, but I mean, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the real story, I think, the story that did get told was Tony has a short interview with Renee afterwards and says that she's not ready yet. Or Tony's like, well, it can't be Tony time all the time. I guess I'm not ready yet. Which is like, I understand that, and it's great character development because nobody expected Tony Storm to lose this, much less get pinned in it. I
Mm-hmm.
think. But the great thing about it is that this kind of match serves two purposes. One, to put somebody over in the process, in this case, Statlander. And
Mm-hmm.
two, that just because you put one person over, that doesn't mean the other two aren't also in that match. So either one of them could win that match and then get themselves over that way. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there, it doesn't have to. Jay White was number one in his gauntlet. He didn't win. Just because Stat won this match doesn't mean she's going to win the gauntlet. So there may be hope for Tony yet. I think it's probably the way to go. I mean, it's for the Grand Slam in Australia. You got to have an Australian, as many Australians on that card as possible to sell the seats that are still left. So
Yeah.
the main event was Kenny Omega coming back, and he talked, he got real about his diverticulitis, about how he would, you know, his doctors told him he might never be able to wrestle again and stuff like that. And, considering that he came back and had a very early match of the year contender with Gabe Kidd at Wrestle Kingdom,
It
I'd
was so
say,
brutal.
I would say that, yeah, Kenny Omega is and can be back.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so what I thought was funny was that like he goes on this thing about how this new version of Kenny Omega, he doesn't want money or power or revenge, and then immediately Don Callis comes out and doesn't get his chance to say 3 words before Kenny Omega bull rushes him. Doesn't want
Just starts
revenge,
beating the
huh?
brakes off him too, man.
Doesn't want revenge, huh? Uh, I mean, they'll probably explain that away by saying, well, I don't want revenge, but if revenge comes breaking my door down, I guess I can meet
Yeah.
it.
Right.
Um, and then he gets beat up and by the rest of the family, well, most of the rest of the Don Callis family anyway. Takeshita isn't there, but Brian Cage is the one. He punches him right in the stomach, right in the the 2 feet of small intestine that he's missing,
Hmm.
and which sets up the match for next week. But of all the people, it's Will. I mean, it makes sense because he's still at war with the Don Callis family. But
Hmm.
considering his history with Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay is the one to make the save. He comes in with the chair, chases everybody off, and then he has a really tense stare down with Omega. But we may be getting some kind of common enemies deal. So
Yeah.
going back to what I said earlier, if like a short term stable of Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay, and Buddy Matthews takes shape, then I wouldn't hate that. And I kind of get it. I kind of get it. Overall, it was a really good show. I think it was a step up from last week's show. A couple of disappointing things, but nothing super egregious.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I thought
stuff
it was really
that's. I
good.
mean, yeah. I mean, for a card. See, there's an example of a 2-hour show with only 4 matches, but it filled the time. I, I I didn't watch Raw, but it seems like it filled the time a little bit better than Raw did with
Hmm.
wrestling anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, there's
At least
definitely more
that's the
wrestling.
yeah, that's the sense I'm getting just from how you described it anyway.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's move on to the Morton.
Heck yeah. Let's get on to the Morton spot. All right. We're going to get into this week's Morton spot, which is our SmackDown review for the week. Uh, this week, SmackDown was pretty cool. I had a good time watching SmackDown this week. A little bit more of a good time than I had watching Raw. So we'll get into it. We opened it up with Chelsea Green versus Michin, which was pretty well. Okay, hold on. We opened it up with Paul Heyman coming out to talk about Netflix Raw and the Tribal Chief and stuff like that. Cody Rhodes came out, and then Kevin Owens came out, and then they insulted one another and they chased around, and then Heyman was alone in the ring, and Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga showed up. Jimmy Uso tried to make the save, and then Rhodes came out and chased him away. A lot really didn't happen here. Like a lot happened, but not a lot happened.
Yeah, sounds like it.
It was kind of just like a cluster, really. But then we kind of went into Chelsea Green versus Michin. Um, when we came back to the ring after the break, Michin was already in the ring. I don't like this. Michin is a legitimate contender for a title. Please stop not giving her an entrance. It's stupid. Uh, I don't like that. Give everybody an entrance. I don't care. I love that about AEW and I hate it about WWE. Give everybody an entrance. And yes, AEW sometimes does not give people an entrance. The people they do not give an entrance are not regular competitors on their show. They
Generally
are
not.
they're generally like
Local
local
best.
talents. Yeah. So WWE does it to people who are like contracted to WWE full time, and I hate that. Like, don't do that. Especially if you got somebody like Michin, who are you trying to say is a legitimate competitor for this title
Yeah.
that Chelsea Green holds. Which I can watch these two. Like they had a pretty typical match. It was good. I really dig Piper Niven dressing up as a Secret Service agent. I also really dig Chelsea Green leaning into like the red, white, and blue patriotic stuff. Like, I guess
Especially when she's Canadian. It's
yeah,
funny.
the story is, I guess she thinks she's like a citizen of the, like a citizen and someone like very important in the United States now, because she's the U.S. champion. So, I love it. I love it. I love it all. I really love her and
She's
Michin.
special.
I
I
hope
I like her a lot. She's special.
I hope that we eventually get Chelsea Green and Michin in a world title feud because they've been doing this for so long. They were just a regular no feud with no belt. I'm almost positive that they brought in these secondary women's titles to give this feud a title. This may have been the catalyst for it because they were having a great feud with like dumpster matches and stuff. That's where we had
Yeah.
Icky Chelsea and Stinky Chelsea last year. Like it's been great. So the match wasn't the best one they've had, but they're always entertaining. They're always entertaining. So and Chelsea Green, especially with the way she's playing with this US title gimmick that she's doing. Uh, it's just great. She's also the greatest and longest reigning women's U.S. champion ever. I mean, she's really playing into
It's
the
true. It's true.
everything, but it's true though. Um, so then we had we had the Garzas and Pretty Deadly. Um, I always like seeing Pretty Deadly just because they're entertaining as hell.
They're funny.
Um, they kind of started fighting before the bell even rang. Um, a lot of high flying, a lot of acrobatics as you would expect out of these two teams. I mean, it's the Garzas and Pretty Deadly. They're both, there's no meaty men in these duos. Um, of course, being Legado people, Escobar and Electra Lopez interfered, and the Garzas got the win. I'm not really sure who the heel. I mean, I guess Pretty Deadly's the heels here, but Los Garzas hasn't really been a face faction. So
Yeah, when you said that, I was like, wait, those are both heel teams.
they
That's
are
weird.
technically, yeah. So it was kind of weird. I'm not mad at the Garza's getting away. Well, I mean, what led to this match though is that Pretty Deadly told or told I almost said Private Party. Pretty Deadly told Montez Ford the that the Garzas were the ones that attacked him or that attacked them and put them out
Hmm.
before their tag team match, and that's how but it was DIY.
Right, right.
And then Apollo Cruz came and told the Garzas that it was DIY that did it, and that Pretty Deadly had like sold them out or threw them under the bus or whatever. And so that's kind of where this came from because
Okay,
Pretty Deadly said the Garzas did it,
gotcha.
and Apollo Cruz was like, no, no, no. So yeah, so like everybody kind of knows who did it now. They know it was DIY. Johnny Gargano is playing an epic heel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I would again encourage you to go back on Peacock and find whatever you can on his heel run in NXT. Like he's an excellent baby face. He's also an excellent heel, and honestly, pound for pound, one of the best in the world. Like he is an incredibly gifted wrestler. I just I don't know how high his ceiling is in WWE because he's still like 5'7". Like I mean, Vince is gone, but Trips isn't like super enamored with the tiny guys.
So then we had
He's still a body guy.
yeah, a little bit. So then we had Nakamura versus LA Knight for the uh, US title. Um, they ended up so LA Knight had helped a few other people. I can't remember who all it was, but they had tried to lock Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu out of the building. And LA Knight had helped do that. So they, of course, interfered, and this match is a no contest.
But they got locked out. How did they get back in?
Don't know. Don't know. I don't think either they didn't say or I just missed how they got back in. Um, not sure. I still don't know. Like I don't know why they're inserting LA Knight into this. I hopefully it means he's going to get a shot at a title. But what title is there for him to have
Yeah,
except the one? And his whole thing is I want to have my belt. So like that's his whole deal. He loves having a title.
who
Yeah.
doesn't?
No.
Yeah.
Um, so then we had A Town Down Under versus Motor City Machine Guns. Um, I hate A Town Down Under. Uh, I think they're kind of funny.
I don't
kind of.
know that much about Waller. I know he's Australian.
He's
Um,
Australian. He's got like prick face,
yeah,
and he kind of is a prick.
yeah.
And then he's teamed with Austin Theory, who's Austin Theory,
See,
and
Austin Theory. See, Austin Theory. He looks like somebody that Ricochet might hang out with.
that part.
That's why it always like, why are you pushing this guy? This guy looks like a creep. Like
Yeah.
he really looks like a creep. Like
Uh,
it
the
makes
match
me
was
uncomfortable.
good. The match was good. I just don't really like A Town Down Under. I'm not into it. I never have been really into it. Even when they have opponents who I really like Motor City Machine Guns. I just don't. I just don't really like it. I just didn't. Kind of a low point in the show, honestly.
Well, haven't they
Uh,
been teasing their split for like a year now too? Like,
yeah, kind of. They're always kind of catty to one another. It's
crap
weird.
or get off the pot, man.
Yeah, pretty
There's a
much.
difference between long-term storytelling and dragging things out. Difference.
So then we had Tiffany Stratton come out, getting a Byron Saxton interview, celebrating her title win. She's our new women's champion after cashing in on Nia Jax. Nia Jax came out and called her ungrateful and then basically threatened to end her life.
As you
Uh,
do.
as you do. Yeah. Segment led to a fight. Aldous booked a number one contenders match tonight to see who's going to fight Tiffany next. And it was Naomi, Bianca Belair, Nia Jax, and Bayley, which is weird because that's the tag team champions and Bayley, and the only heel is Nia Jax. And Bayley gets the win on this one. Um, for a four-way, it was kind of short. And at one point, Candice LeRae showed up and to help to obviously help Jax cheat and get a win, and it ended up
Right.
not making a difference at all. Uh, it was a good match for what it was, but it was
There.
just kind of there. Yeah, it wasn't as bad as that. I didn't feel as bad about it as I did about the tag match, though, only because I mean Bayley got a win, so now we're going to get Bayley and Tiffany Stratton at some point in the near future, which I'm cool with. Uh, so yeah, we'll see how they go. I mean, I don't think Bayley's going to win that title, but I do appreciate that we're going to get a match between the two of them. I think it's going to be good. So,
I
uh,
mean, there are far worse dance partners than Bailey.
there could. I'm kind of glad we're getting away from Nia for a little bit. Like, I mean, she's improved for sure, but I'm just not really a huge fan of hers. So we'll just see. I mean, she's had some good matches lately. I can't, say she hasn't, but I'm glad they're getting away from her and getting on to somebody new with the title. But I, I really hope that Bayley doesn't win, just because. Why then? What was the point? Just to get the case off of Tiffany. I mean, I'm not sure. What the move is next. Who the big opponent's going to be? I'm really hoping it's Charlotte Flair.
Which is telling because the the thing about Charlotte is that she always comes back and she always immediately wins the belt, and
Mhm.
people are fed up with it. So the fact that she's been gone long enough for people to actually be hoping for that, I mean, maybe that means it's time to finally bring her back.
And with
Maybe
that,
people aren't as sick of her anymore.
yeah, I hope not. We'll see. But
I
with
mean,
that,
just from your reviews, it seems like they've been treading water in the women's divisions for a long time, especially on the Raw side of things. Like
yeah,
Liv and Rhea have been circling the drain for like 9 months
yeah, I'm
before they
not trying to
finally
talk.
switched the belt.
I'm not trying to talk too much about it because it's part of later.
Yeah, I,
Um, but yeah, that's basically it, dude. Like, there's just a level of stagnance that seems to have taken place. I need Liv Morgan to go away for a little bit. I need Nia Jax to go away for a little bit. I need them both to go away for a little bit. That's just what you both lost your titles. Please take a vacation. Enjoy yourself. I'm not saying I hate you, never come back. I'm saying go away so we can miss you.
yeah.
let these people fight somebody else. Let's let the chips fall where they may. Get some new feuds going on, and when you come back, we'll have something different for you, and it'll be new and fresh, and people can appreciate it. Go take a vacation. You earned it, champs. Like
I mean, how often do wrestlers actually get vacations?
not often
You know?
enough.
Yeah, exactly. So if you had the opportunity, do it.
Yeah, yeah. Just take some time. And now we get into pretty much what you were talking about earlier. You remember what you said about Jimmy Uso being a whipping boy?
Yeah.
And here's our main event. Jimmy Uso and Cody Rhodes versus Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga. So, of course, we had the scrum earlier, and these guys have been wreaking havoc all over the show. So, of course, we're going to get Jimmy Uso and Cody Rhodes versus Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga. And it's a good match for the most part until Owen shows up. And when Owen shows up, he gets Cody Rhodes' attention, and they fight into the back, and that leaves it Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu against Jimmy Uso. And Jimmy Uso gets the shit kicked out of him for a good 5 minutes, and
Mhm.
then takes a fat moonsault from Fatu for the loss. Um, KO and Rhodes were fighting near the stage. They end up crashing through a table, both of them. The show ended by both of them being looked at by officials. Um,
That sounds like a last man standing setup.
I think it will be,
Yeah,
or maybe a TLC setup or something. I don't know.
maybe.
We'll see what happens. But why does Jimmy have to suffer for this? Poor Jimmy.
I mean, he needs to stop getting DUIs. That's when he'll stop getting punished.
Maybe. But I just like I'm gonna get into it a little bit more later,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
the bloodline thing every week, every week it's a 1-on-1 or a 2-on-2 or a 3-on-3 that is some amalgamation of some members of two different bloodlines, and then a third not really official faction of people who said hate bloodline or who hate said bloodlines. Like, can we please stop? It Man, why is there even a second bloodline anymore? You give the deal with that Jacob, like not Jacob, but Solo Sokoa said himself, if Roman Reigns beats me in tribal combat, I will acknowledge him as the tribal chief. So that means now Roman is everybody's chief, right? I
Yeah,
feel
that
like a
doesn't mean
Star
people are
Wars
happy
meme.
about it.
I feel like a Star Wars meme. Like that means that Roman's everybody's chief now, right? Right?
Right?
Right? No,
Well,
I guess that's not what it
yeah.
means.
Well, okay. So they're probably going to write Solo off for a little bit, which leaves Fatu and Tamatanga with nothing to do. So, I mean, what what are they good at? They're good at chaos. So let them do chaos, I guess. I don't know. I've
I
got
would
nothing better.
love
I don't watch
for
the show often enough for me to be able to suggest anything better, honestly.
I got something
So,
better. I got something better right now. The
hey.
tag team division is booty butt cheeks. Let's insert these guys right into the middle of the DIY MCMG feud. Let's do
All
that because
right.
right now the tag. Okay, so right now there's already like 5 tag teams that are seriously in the hunt in the main event portion of the tag team division. Throwing another one in isn't going to make much of a difference. We can still have a lot of really good matches. Those guys would make a really good tag team to have some of these matches. The only problem with doing that until Solo comes back and we figure out what's next in the Bloodline saga is if people start beating them, then Jacob Fatu has lost his aura as an unbeatable world killing machine. Um,
Don't
and
let
I
that
mean,
go. That dude's a
he,
special talent,
yeah, let's not screw up Umaga version 2, please.
right?
Um,
Don't remember what happened to Umaga? Yeah. Don't no.
let's not do that.
No.
I don't want him to start getting beat. I don't want him to go into comedy. and shit like that. Although I'm positive he's capable. I've seen interviews
Yeah,
with the
probably.
guy. He's not just like some hulking Tasmanian freaking devil like they present him on TV. He speaks. He says more than "I love you" Solo. He's actually very well spoken. Matter of fact, in all the interviews that I've seen him in. So I mean, he's absolutely not that guy. Like that's not him turned up to 11. That is a completely fictional version of him.
Yeah.
It's just not that's him devoid any humanity, maybe, which maybe that's the point of the character. But he does say things like "I love you" Solo, so there's obviously some humanity in there. That's just not him. That's really not him. But it's a really effective character. Let's not kill it. Let's not kill its aura. Let's not kill its
Yeah.
vibe. But if they're holding it off for just a bloodline thing, like how are we going to maintain that vibe and aura going forward without a concentrated place to put it? You with something like that, it has to be directed always, or it
Hmm.
loses momentum, and then
Yeah.
you drop the ball on it. That's just what happens. So we got to keep this guy moving. I mean, eventually it's going to be where like we have nowhere else to move him. He's going to have to be world champion one day if we continue on this trajectory. But he's going to have to be like pretty soon. He's going to have to clash with Braun Breaker and be the Intercontinental Champion. Which, please, dear sweet baby Jesus, let that happen. I want to see those two guys destroy each other. Like, just that would be so good at the current level. Like, those two would be
You
great.
know what you do? You know what you do? You put it on WWE speed and have it be the most chaotic, violent 3 minutes you've ever seen. Because
It would be too. They're both
just do
insanely
that.
fast. They're both insanely strong. They're both insanely and wildly athletic.
I don't
Oh,
understand
give
how
it to me.
anybody can run the ropes as fast as Braun Breaker runs the ropes. How is that possible?
I don't
It
know.
doesn't seem like it
I don't
should
know.
be possible physically. Like the dude's
You,
a freak athlete.
you know what grabs me? Okay, so a few years ago, when his younger brother graduated from high school, I was working at a restaurant here, and they came and ate. They got like a special chef's room that was behind, like technically in the back of the restaurant. It's like in the main restaurant's behind a mirror. Like you have to put
Okay.
a mirror open to get into this room, and like
Right.
it's right like there's a door from the kitchen directly in there.
Oh wow.
Like it's like a chef's table,
VIP baby.
VIP as fuck. Like this is a TV chef's restaurant that I worked at. Like it was
Yeah.
here, here where I live, and the Steiners came and ate, and and I remember hearing about it. Like the waitress who took the phone call during the day was like, oh, she comes back, she's like, chef, I need to make a chef's table room. He's like, okay, and he pulls out his name, and she's like, Rex Steiner, and I was like,
Mhm.
okay, I know that name. And then she starts talking. She's like, he says he's from WWE, and I was like, holy fuck. I'm about to have to cook a filet mignon for Scott Steiner, who 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 didn't order the filet. He ordered a freaking like a flat iron steak. I don't know why you order a steak like that at a restaurant that's like famous for its fillets and Spanish food. But he ordered like a flat iron steak and then complained about it on Google. The son of a bitch. Um, I didn't cook it though, so fuck.
That
um,
sounds like such a Scott Steiner thing to
he did,
do.
he did. But I met, I met Braun once in a work setting where I couldn't fanboy out and like, hey, can I take a picture with you? Like, I can't do that.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm I'm literally like running a whole station for this. Like there's like four chefs on the brigade running this station, so I'm running a station for this VIP lunch. I can't just be like, oh my god, Rick and Scott
Yeah.
Steiner sitting in there with their kids, and oh my god, like I was doing
Yeah.
that inside for sure, but I could not whip out my phone and be like, hey, let me get a selfie, or even tell them I was their fan. I had to keep
Right.
my ass in the kitchen and do my job. And it, Braun, I met him because I took a break in the middle of like right before their dessert course, which I had nothing to do with. So I was able to take a break at that point, and I was going to the bathroom, and so was he.
Ah,
And he's even bigger in person than they show him on TV, which is fucking wild.
yeah. Like he's
He
not
is
overly
like
tall, but
he's
he's
so
a
fit,
solid dude.
dude.
Yeah.
I swear to God, the width from like the front of his chest to the back of his shoulders was easily like as wide as I am standing frontwards. It was, I was just like I just bumped into, it was like, oh, I'm sorry. So, holy shit, look at this guy.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, yeah.
That's great
So,
though.
so when I see him move the way he does in the ring, and then know, like physically, personally, I've been in front of this man. I know how big he actually is.
Yeah,
It's amazing how athletic he is. I want him and freaking Jacob Fatu so bad. I want it
yeah.
so bad. And how do we keep the aura of Jacob Fatu being a world beating monster? You're going to have to make him beat Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker can take a loss and continue on like nothing happened. He has done it no less than 3 times over the last 700 days or so. He lost
Yeah.
to Sami Zayn. He lost to
I mean, he lost the NXT
Jey
championship to Dolph
Uso.
Ziggler.
Yeah, yeah, he's lost
So,
to Dolph Ziggler. I mean,
and then
he can do
to
that and then
Carmelo.
just,
So,
yeah, he can do that and then just move on and do
yeah.
whatever else he wants. I would like to eventually see Braun versus Gunther again
Yeah,
for the world
think
title.
that's I think that's definitely in the cards as a major feud at some point, probably in the next 2 years.
Yeah. So I really think that I think that's the way we keep the aura. We can keep both, or they can both be protected in this feud and just have banger match after banger match. Just like you guys, you want to like up the quality of the product in your ring. Give us something to be excited about. These
Yeah.
guys had a stare down like a month and a half ago. Just a random, they ran into each other during a match and stood up and had a stare down. And the crowd popped so loud for that. Just the idea that these two guys might get physical with one another. You cannot ignore that. Like, I can't believe it's been a month and a half and it hasn't happened.
I
I,
guarantee you that once they're in the ring together at the Royal Rumble, there will be something. It'll be a teaser. It'll be a little, it'll wet your palate a little bit,
maybe.
tease for down the road. But I can almost guarantee that there's going to be a spot in the Royal Rumble match itself where those two have like a 30-second, I'm going to compete with you to see who's crazier, mini match.
Yeah. I mean, I'm anxious to see this year's Royal Rumble. There's been a lot of developments over the last 365 days that like there are serious competitors that people are not, they don't have them at the forefront of their mind, but they've
Yeah.
been built in such a way over the last year that there are multiple serious competitors in this match, and Super John Cena is going to be there. I fully believe that if they are going to commit to this man being the world champion one more time,
Yeah.
this is going to have to be a Super Cena run. And I feel like they may just be slotting it in where The Rock would have been were he available.
See, I would go the other route. I would have him beat Gunther, have him beat the heel. Have him beat the heel. Don't have him beat the babyface. Don't I won't say ruin Cody, but don't cut his legs out from under him for the sake of a part timer.
Now here's where I'm.
Gunther will be fine. He can always get his heat back. It's fine.
Well,
Cody as the baby face and kind of face of the promotion to an extent. I I think you're better served by having both of them at the top than one undercut the other.
now here's the thing. Okay, I think we may be kind of covertly, very slyly staring down the barrel of a heel Cody. Um, the reason I say that is because one, everything Kevin Owens says makes sense. This is not like a raving lunatic heel who is blaming the face for something that blatantly didn't happen. Everything he says is valid and legitimate. We can then go and say that, yeah, he may have fought Owens and they fought to the back, but it may look to Jimmy Uso like Cody Rhodes walked off on him.
Yeah.
And to be fair, he didn't have to chase down Kevin Owens. So we might be looking at a heel Cody. And if that's what's happening, things could get really interesting in WrestleMania season. It could get wild.
Yeah. Um, I'll say that they would need to pull the trigger on that sooner rather than later, though,
Yeah,
because I mean, if you're having Cena win, you can maybe stretch it out a month. Oh, who's he gonna fight? Who's he gonna choose? You could maybe stretch that out for 3 or 4 weeks, and have him like open Elimination Chamber with his decision, and then have the Elimination Chamber match itself with 3 guys from each brand, and whoever Cena doesn't pick is what they're fighting for. But like you can't have Cody drag out the heel turn that long if that's the plan.
I wouldn't want them to
You
drag
need
it
to
out that
pull it.
long, but I could see them working this up and John Cena making his decision for it to be Cody Rhodes and being like, I respect you, but I want that particular title. And I could see him winning it at WrestleMania and that being where Cody makes the turn, where he's finally sent over the edge. Like all of this build up from Kevin Owens and everything else, and then finally it's like, oh, now he's lost the world title, and he smacks John Cena in the back of the head with a chair or something, and that's how he sends him out. Um, like maybe that's how we write John Cena off of WWE programming by having Cody Rhodes like severely injure him after losing the title to him, and then he has
and
to
then
like
have
add the,
and then have Cody win it back again and make it as if nothing ever happened except he's turned heel.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, that be just the way the WWE would do it, though. I mean,
I mean,
sorry for having watched y'all's
yeah,
product for 40 years, but here we are.
yeah. There are
So
habits, there are
I like your
tropes.
way better. To be fair,
Yeah.
I like your way better, but I mean, but that's just if any of that's going to happen. I really don't know what's about to happen. Like, how are they going to work John Cena into the world title picture anywhere? Don't know. Besides him winning the Royal Rumble, but who do they have to? What storylines otherwise are they going to have to sacrifice for John Cena now winning the Royal Rumble? I mean, it doesn't make sense for Roman to win it unless he would also be going after Gunther because he's a face now. Um, I am for the first time like going into a Royal Rumble over the next month or so. I am not in a position to call the winner like where I would normally be like I got a top five of who's gonna one of these guys is gonna win the Rumble and I'm usually right. I don't know now. I don't know now. I don't have a top five. I don't even have a 10. There's 30 guys who could conceivably win the Royal Rumble right now.
Isn't that a great feeling?
It is actually.
Isn't it?
It
I
is. I
love
like
the
doing
unpredictability is something that a lot of times the Royal Rumble plays up but doesn't deliver on
it. Mm-hmm.
because they telegraph their winner too much. Um, there are ways that they've subverted that in the past, like the one with Brock Lesnar defending or looking to win the Royal Rumble while WWE champion and literally eliminating half the field before Drew gets to him. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I hated that at the time. I hated it. Looking back now, it was genius because
Mm-hmm.
it put like ultimately most of the guys that he eliminated weren't guys that had a shot anyway. Uh, I do miss the fact that I think he eliminated Kofi, but Kofi didn't get a chance to Kofi.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was a missed opportunity, but I mean, it made Drew
Oh yeah.
practically overnight. Like that in and of itself was the trade off that makes it worth it.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody knew that was coming. Nobody could have called that. There were lots of people, especially once that match started, he just started chucking guys out. It's like, oh, he's going to win the whole stinking thing by eliminating every single person, isn't he? It's such a
Mm-hmm.
WWE thing to do. Um, there are other matches. I mean, once you want to bring up an infamous one, once Daniel Bryan got eliminated in 2015 15, it was very clear that Roman was the chosen one, and they
Hmm.
booed it out of the building.
Oh
Even
yeah.
The Rock's endorsement couldn't save it. So, I mean, there are a lot of times where it's predictable, and there are a lot of times where it's unpredictable, but they still pick the wrong guy,
Hmm.
like Sheamus or Alberto Del Rio,
Oh,
or like guys that like should he even be in this position? Like,
right.
I don't know. Like maybe if they had been properly elevated by it, if the follow up had been there, yeah, you can say it's worth it. But usually, historically, the follow up hasn't risen to the task,
Hmm.
and this doesn't seem like it's a case of that though. Like this seems the way you describe it anyway. Like you know, a lot of people have a very decent chance of winning. Uh, you know, I like that feeling. That feeling where you don't know what can happen is that's the secret sauce right there.
Yeah, it
That
is.
unpredictability. Like,
Yep.
sometimes predictability can work in your favor, when you are anticipating something that you really want to see.
Hmm.
But if you don't have as big a dog in the fight, and there are a lot of dogs in the fight, hey,
Yeah.
unpredictability.
The way I say it like this is that wrestling itself is like a really good fucking order of French fries, man. It really is. It's
Hmm.
a great order of French fries. But unpredictability is ketchup on my fries, bro. Like it is the sauce that brings your, whether you use fry sauce in some parts of the countries or ketchup like we do down here, whatever you put your fry, that thing that you put on your fries, that everybody has one and it makes them better. That is unpredictability in wrestling. That is
Yeah.
it's the sauce that makes everything better. It is rocket sauce for a company. If you're unpredictable, if I can't sit here and fantasy book your next year just based on wrestling tropes and the way you're booking your show, that's great. It's the best thing. It not knowing like go. I've been watching the Royal Rumble 30 some odd years now.
Yeah.
Not knowing who's going to win is kind of rare, and
Yeah.
not having like a 10 or 11 or even 15 people that I can name that should win, but like, man, the roster's so stacked right now. There's a million ways they could attack this on top of like who's going to show up this year.
Yeah.
I mean, like who's been gone? Like it's almost like with all the crap going on, it's almost hard to keep track of who's been gone and like who could show up and who's not contracted anywhere right now. That's even harder now with AEW being around. Like you never know who's contracted where anymore. Only when it runs out. So
Joe Hendry.
I really hope he shows up.
I think he
This
will.
the same way I hope Jordan Gray shows up for the women's rumble again.
I
I
mean,
still
they
don't
they
think that's
haven't really.
benefiting TNA any at all, but I
I
still think
mean, it's been pretty quiet for a while now
yeah, there
on
hadn't
that
been a
front.
lot of
There's
crossovers
not been
lately.
a crossover in a bit.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, other than that, like I really like that we're going into Royal Rumble season because I separate that from WrestleMania season because I love the Royal Rumble.
Royal
Um,
Rumble's the best.
but yeah, I mean,
It's the best.
we're going into that. I don't know who's going to win on even on the
Mm.
women's side. I no idea. So I'm
I
happy.
mean, that's probably where you bring Charlotte and Becky back, right?
I would hope if
I
if
mean, it's
not
the thing
before
that
then,
makes the most sense.
if not before then, at some point, then yes, that's where let's bring them back. But then if you bring them both back in the match, who wins?
Uh, I mean, either one can win. It depends on which belt you want them to go after.
Yeah, I guess you're right, but I still I don't know.
I mean,
Love
if
not knowing.
I'm very biased. Like, it's no secret that I'm a huge fan of the man. I am an enormous from the day I first saw her doing her level best to do a terrible Irish dance number on an NXT stage. I fell in love with that character. I loved her so much from the very beginning. I was so vindicated when I was there. on Long Island at Evolution to see her beat Charlotte Flair in that last woman standing match. I was so hyped for that. That was the same show I saw Tony Storm win the Mae Young too. It was a great show, one of the best shows I've ever been to. Really wish they would have made it an annual thing. But yeah, like I'm ride or die for Becky Lynch, like her personal choices notwithstanding. uh, but like the to me, I'm very very invested in Becky Lynch. So if she comes back, I hope it's her. But that's my personal bias speaking,
Yeah.
not anything other than my personal affection for Becky Lynch. Like it doesn't, that doesn't take into account storylines or whatever. So
Right. Yeah. I mean, that was it for SmackDown this week. I know we went way past what SmackDown was, but SmackDown was really good this week. Except the bloodline stuff at the end. Let's stop making Jimmy Uso a whipping boy, please. Thank you. Um, Jimmy, please make better choices. So that they don't. I mean, let's all be better. But other than that, SmackDown was super good this week, and I think that's going to move us right into our hot tag.
all right, hot tag. Collision. Collision was good. That's it. No, it's not. I got you. I got you. All right. It opens up with the cold opens are back with a little mini interviews and into the song that's and
Oh, it was great.
Elton John is back. Oh, I
Uh,
really love those. It gives it a distinct feel from Dynamite. It's very old school, like Saturday night's main event kind of deal. Very much into it. Very much into it.
I love it.
As long as only one show does it, I like it because then it establishes it as a separate part of its identity. Big Bill versus Cope opens up the show. Um, this was a good little match. I mean, Big Bill, I like Big Bill. I think that he's really, really charismatic and really maximizes his minutes whenever he's given a chance to speak. I mean, as a big man, he's kind of standard though in the ring. Like he's a big dude, like he's
Mhm.
impressive, and he got in excellent shape from when he got fired from the let go from WWE. He wasn't in great shape. He was going through personal struggles, depression, I think alcohol addiction as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
Feel free to correct me on that if I need correcting, but I think that's what I heard. And he, during the pandemic, he got himself into incredible shape. Did it look like a stint in TNA and then came over to AEW, and he's been steady ever since.
Mhm.
Um, they that being said, there's still only so much that a guy with his the extent to which his in-ring skills can carry him. And so they
Mhm.
kind of had to do a lot of smoke and mirrors in this match, to stretch it out. Cope got the upper hand on the outside, bounced him off the announce table, is some cheating with some exposed turnbuckles, a lot of stuff. But the crowd was into it, especially on a very, very effective near fall at the end. Cope hit the spear, and everybody thought it was over. He kicked out of the spear. Like I know Cope gets a lot of flack for his version of the spear. A lot of people like to call it the flying hug and everything, but it ends matches
Mhm.
like 99.9% of the time. If he hits the spear, it's over. And Big Bill kicked out at two, and there was this collective gasp from the audience, like, oh, "Holy cow!" This speaks to TK because he has done an excellent job of booking Big Bill as a big guy to be protected. He doesn't win a lot, but he usually looks really, really good in defeat.
Yeah.
And he is usually only beaten in singles competition by big stars like Adam Copeland. So honestly, I think this actually did more for Bill than it did for Cope. Because Cope was always kind of going to win the match. Like he's
Mhm.
big star, just returning, getting into the Death Riders thing. Like he's going over. But
Mhm.
Bill really acquitted himself well. And the booking really, really helped. I thought this was really good, especially at the end. When actually Cope had to cheat to beat him too. He kicked him in the nuts behind the referee's back, and then hit him another spear. And then he does the call out to the Death Riders by ending the match for real with the hammer and the hammer and anvil elbows, and by choking him out, which you know Mox has used the rear naked choke to finish matches before. It was especially prevalent in his very first title reign that he used that a lot, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, this was actually a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be. So I was very here for it. After the match, Jericho, who was at commentary and helped serve distraction in the middle of the match, he and Brian Keith jumped in the ring to beat up Cope, but FTR made the save. And I thought they were going to do the thing because uh, Jericho and Dax Harwood had a match scheduled for that. I thought they were going to go right into that, but they
Mm-hmm.
didn't. And the reason they didn't, because they were already going to do that thing later in the show,
Yeah.
and they didn't want to do it twice in a row. So good for them. Like, I mean, if they were going to pick one, yeah, okay. Give
Mm-hmm.
Dax the main event. Dax is somebody who is underrated as a singles wrestler. Like, he never wins. He never wins, but he always has like one of those matches where it's like, oh man, you think he could win.
Mm-hmm.
He's very good as the babyface, the singles babyface fighting from underneath. He's very good at making you think, oh, he has a shot. He's got a
Mm-hmm.
shot. Underrated talent in as a singles, I
Yeah.
think. Um, Hangman cuts a promo, an incredible promo after this, where for all the people complaining that this is too subtle and I'm not getting his character and he doesn't have a character arc. Yeah, watch this promo because it looks like they're tired of that and tired of the complaining. And he pretty much spells out exactly who he is.
Mm-hmm.
He feels, even though it's really not his fault because all he did was show up for work that day and Swerve invaded his home knowing that he was going to be at work. That's it. That's literally it. Adam Page is not responsible for what Swerve Strickland did,
Mm-hmm.
but he feels responsible for it. He feels like he failed his family. And because of that, he is not going back to the way he was. And anything that he sees as a threat to him and his family and his private way of life is going to feel it. It's going to feel the consequences. So he challenges Christopher Daniels to a Texas death match next week on Collision, which is incredible acceleration of this. They haven't even
Mm-hmm.
had a normal one. They're going right to the blood feud finisher. Like, like okay. I mean, I guess it makes sense because like you're not getting more than one match out of Christopher Daniels, who's a part timer anymore. But like, they're trying everything they can to make heel Hangman get over as a heel. We'll see how well it works because I happen to know that the Blue Sky following is very much like 80 to 90% in Hangman's corner on pretty much every to the point where it's like Hangman can do no wrong, even though I mean, he may have done a little wrong, but Hangman's done no wrong. But yeah, I think this is a vehicle for them to try to like a last ditch effort to establish that yeah, he is somebody that you should be booing now.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see if it works. Regardless, this promo was excellent. And I think
Yeah.
that Hangman proves again that it's not just in the ring where he gets it done. Like his greatest strength actually isn't his in-ring work, as good as his in-ring work is. It's actually in his character work. He knows that character inside and out, doesn't deviate from it, lives it. He puts everything into it. And
Mm-hmm.
like I said, there's certain people online. I won't name names. This isn't that kind of podcast. I won't name names, but there are certain prominent people online who are complaining about, oh, he doesn't have a storyline. Oh, he doesn't have a character. Oh, he's pointless. No. Sorry it went over your head.
Hmm.
But no, this is now you have no choice but to admit, yeah, this is who he is. He knows exactly who he is. He knows exactly what he's doing. This is the plan. Sorry you couldn't see it. Sorry you need everything spoon fed to you. But this is it. And it's great. It's great. Next match was Commander and Pac, and this was great as predicted. Uh, Probably my favorite part was when Pac, who has a history with Alex Abrahantes when they were part of Death Triangle together,
Hmm.
just lives up to Pac's nickname and just like terrorizes Alex Abrahantes. He just completely like he does like the thing where he lifts him off the ground and Commander makes the save with an incredible double jump moonsault. But like my favorite part was Pac like just saying, "Yeah, you and I have a past, and it doesn't matter. Screw you. I'm I'm going to tear. I'm going to make you pee your pants." Essentially, was Pac's. And whenever he went outside, it was like, "No, Alex Abrahantes is going to get the business." So, um, incredible stuff. How do you call a match between two incredible high flyers like this? The finish comes when uh, 450 from Commander gets met with Pac's knees, sets up the brutalizer. Uh, I don't know. I don't like Tony Khan putting his one of his champions in a position. I mean, it's Ring of Honor. It's a Ring of Honor TV title, but still, like, I don't know if you should be having him take clean submission losses to non-contenders, in just normal non-title matches. I don't know if that's really building your brand. The match itself in a vacuum was great. I liked it. Um, Pac is just one of those guys. I keep saying it, and I'm gonna keep beating this drum. Pac should be. He's far overlooked, but he should be in the pound for pound discussion. Bell to bell, there are not many guys in the same league as Pac, and it doesn't get often talked about. Certainly not enough. So
Hmm.
this is the part where they flow one match into another because after the match, Wheeler and Claudio make their way to the ring. Pac lifts up Commander's lifeless body, and Claudio is about to get his revenge from when the end of the C2 when Commander got the win by using the knuckles, the brass knuckles that Darby had confiscated from Claudio when he used them against Darby and stuffed in his coat.
Hmm.
Great bit of business there, by the way. I really wish we could have talked about that episode. I
That was the
loved that
best
business.
thing. I loved it.
That was great, fantastic. It was
Yeah.
like if I can't move on, I'm gonna make sure you don't, and I'm gonna
Hmm.
help. And Commander got a huge win off of it. Beating Claudio is no small feat.
No, it
And
isn't.
so they're here, they're acknowledging the continuity, the canon, and they're holding them up so that Claudio can get it in. But then the Outrunners, who have a scheduled match against Claudio and Yuta, they come out and make the save, and that flows right into that match. This match was okay. I mean,
I have the
the
same
appeal of
assessment.
the Outrunners is not their in ring work; it's their character work and their energy.
Yeah.
Like they are hilarious. They are greatly entertaining. They are a throwback, but like when you put them against like two no nonsense guys who probably shouldn't be selling their funny stuff, it's an odd fit,
Yeah.
you know. It would be better if the Death Riders had characters that would sell a little bit more of that stuff for the
Hmm.
purposes of this match, but I don't think that that should be sacrificed for the overrunning narrative.
Yeah.
The narrative is more important than a single match on Collision with no stakes. So yeah, Death Riders win with the rocket launcher. I like the rocket launcher. I
I
dug
do too,
that.
actually.
But earlier in the match, Yuta had done the drop kick off of Claudio swinging. I
Hmm.
think it was Truth, one of them,
Yeah.
and Yuta was not the legal man, but he tried to pin him. and that
Hmm.
for they used, I'm pretty sure it was planned, and they used that to justify Truth kicking out of it because that's their usual finish now. I think is the
Yeah.
swing into the drop kick. So that momentary distraction where Claudio got mad because you're not the legal man. Get the hell out of here so I can pin him. Oh no, it was the pin got broken up, so it gave him time
Yeah.
to. That's what it was. Um, but after the match ends, Claudio gives you to the business. He's like, he dresses him down in front of everybody because again, that's Yuta's role now. he's just the guy that takes all the crap.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that to me that was probably the best part was the rocket launcher. I like the rocket launcher. I don't know, it's simple and it's old school, but I like it. I like the fact that they use an old school move to beat the old school team.
Yeah.
I thought that was poetic. I like that. Um, and I liked the bit of business afterwards, the character bit with Claudio and Yuta. Screw you, Yuta. You chose wrong. That's gonna be a recurring theme for like as long as this Death Riders thing is going. So get used to me saying screw you, Yuta. Uh, next up was actually my most anticipated match. Mariah May versus Harley Cameron. Harley Cameron came out with her new song. New song's a banger. She sings it herself. She's no longer reliant on Soraya's theme. Thank goodness for so many reasons.
Hmm.
Um, and Cameron really, I thought she really acquitted herself well here. I thought she really, I mean, she's been growing leaps and bounds in ring. Like she's one of the most entertaining characters on the show. Um, there was actually some kind of chain wrestling here that I wasn't really prepared for with these two. I was
Hmm.
very, very accepting of it. Uh, May gets a knee lift out of nowhere into a Storm Zero, and a match that probably lasted longer than a lot of people thought it was going to. I'm pretty sure there was a commercial break in between. Harley got some good stuff in. The crowd was definitely behind Harley. You've got a star in her hands here. Like I really think so. Um,
Yeah.
like she's not ready to win a belt. She's not. In ring work means too much in AEW for that to be on her horizon in the immediate future. But you've
Hmm.
got a star on your hands here. If you play your cards right, she could be big for them. You get a response from Christopher Daniels to Adam Page. He's sick and tired of being disrespected, blah, blah, blah. He accepts Page's challenge for a Texas death match. That big dummy. He's gonna he's gonna get murked. Uh, Brody
Yeah.
King has a match with Trevor Blackwell, who is a local person. So it
Oh,
match doesn't
okay.
go too long. The match doesn't go too long. There was a cool little bit of business. I do like it when they spice up the squashes a little bit by giving the guy who's getting squashed a little bit of a character moment. Like so, he's trying to escape Brody on the outside, and he's just circling the ring, and he runs into Julia, and Julia just gives him a shake of her head and a little wag of her finger. And Blackwell's like, I don't know if I want to mess. I don't know if it's safe for me to cross this line, which puts over Julia big time, big
Hmm.
time. Puts her over as dangerous because this dude was twice the size of Julia Hart, and he was stopped. He was like, I'm not messing with this chick either. And he turns around right back into Brody, who throws him back inside. Lariat, cannonball, gonzo bomb. It's over. Uh, this seems like a nothing match, but after the match, after the commercial break, um, he's backstage with Lexi Nair getting interviewed, and Coke comes out, and he's like, "I know this is a confusing time for you. I know that you and I have had history, earlier last year, but let me tell you, I've been in the ring with you, and I've been in the ring with Buddy. You guys can go solo. Like you guys are ready. It's time." And it was great because he just walked away. He didn't offer his services. He didn't offer to mentor him. He said, "You're ready. Go and do it." Like so many of these characters, MJF just did it on Dynamite. I can help you. Christian Cage just made a whole thing of adopting fatherless children. Like, it's not the patriarchy; it's Christian Cage's school for wayward boys. Um, but uh, it was nice to see Cope just say, "Yeah, you're ready. If you need encouragement, yeah, here it is. You're ready. Go off and be on your own." Like, that was just a small thing, but really refreshing. Totally dug it.
Mhm.
Totally dug it. So, like, that segment wouldn't have made sense without the squash match, because it proves that Cope was right in what he says, because he easily dispatched a guy right in front of them just a few minutes ago, in front of everybody just a few minutes ago,
Mhm.
without Malachi Black there. But it also um, justified Brody King having this segment at all, because if he was just there hanging out, it wouldn't have made sense. But he was there because he had a match that he just won. So, like, I like when things line up to make sense like that. Right? TNT Championship match was next. Danny Garcia defends against Katsuyori Shibata. It's no secret that I'm a big fan of both of these guys for different
Mhm.
reasons. Um, Danny Garcia is a Buffalo boy, like I am. Like, I don't live in Buffalo, but I grew up in Buffalo. I was there until I was 13, 12, 13. So I have a lot of hometown love for Buffalo, and that dude is obviously, very talented. Shibata, man, nobody beats the crap out of guys quite like Katsuyori Shibata. I love Shibata. I think he's fantastic. Uh, and this match was very much Shibata taking about 70% of the offense and just destroying Daniel Garcia, only for Garcia to kind of come up from underneath and win with the jackknife, which is almost like a finisher for him at this point. The jackknife
Mhm.
pin, like,
Yeah.
it's a weird thing. Like, he doesn't have an impact finisher; he has a submission finisher, and then he has a pin. It's kind of weird, but
Yeah.
it works. They played off their history with the ROH Pure title. Shibata took the belt off of Garcia.
Mhm.
They did a couple of nods to that and stuff like that. Uh, this match was just like it was. It was just it was if it was in my home indie promotion and I was in the audience, the crowd would have immediately, within a minute, started chanting wrestling, because that's what it was. It was just great graps, man. Big
Mhm.
fan of it, love it. Uh, After that, fantastic video package promoting the women's casino gauntlet that was coming up. I think they played it on Dynamite too, but they played it again here. They're really, really hyping it up, and I'm really, really glad for that.
Mhm.
And the match that ended the show was Dax Harwood versus Chris Jericho. Um, I had a lot of praise for Dax earlier, just a few minutes ago, but this was awkward. Like, these two
A
just didn't
match.
really. It was a match. It didn't really seem like they had a lot of chemistry with one another. Not
Mhm.
for lack of trying. Like, the effort was there. It just didn't click. Um, which is disappointing. I mean, it just kind of goes to show. I think it's more on Jericho than Harwood. I mean, this is happening more frequently with Jericho now.
Mhm.
Like, if you put him in a plunder match, or you put him in a match where, like, the whole story is like him and Ishii, where all they did was chop each other for like 15 straight minutes, but somehow made that work. I
Mhm.
loved that. I loved that match. I thought that match was great. Like, the blood, like, they chopped each other like 200 times. It was stupid and wonderful.
Yeah.
Because it's Ishii. You know, I love Dax, but he's no Ishii. Like, in terms of aura,
Yeah.
like, he is only 5'7" and looks like a angry bowling ball come to life, but he has an undeniable presence about him. That Dax, as much as I love him, he just doesn't have that singles aura about him. He just doesn't. You put him together with Cash, yes, absolutely. That tag team is the best tag team I have ever seen in my entire life, in my opinion. But and I love Dax's singles work, but this didn't click,
Mm.
and it was awkward. And Jericho's, I think he's just showing his age. Like, not everybody. I mean, everybody's got a shelf life, and he's reaching his. And you could put up. I could put up with Chris Jericho, kind of, hanging around. Because, I mean, you've got him on a big money contract. He was incredibly important for the early years, especially of AEW,
Hmm.
to establish it as a brand. If Chris Jericho is not your first champion, I doubt they get TV as quickly as they did. Um, it's I don't want to discount his contributions,
Hmm.
and I understand that you have to put him on TV because of how much money you're probably paying him and because of his name value. But eventually, that name value among wrestling fans, maybe not advertisers, because they probably don't watch the product, but like they're probably not fans of the product. They just know, oh, we make money this way.
Hmm.
But to fans of the product, it's like Jericho can still talk, but I don't know if he's got it in to do like a bunch of regular singles matches anymore. Put him in a plunder match and he'll make something work. But like,
Hmm.
this ain't working for me. And I
Hmm.
hate that. I hate it. I hate it because I love Dax, but this didn't work for me.
Yeah.
After the match, the learning tree hits, and so it was a big WCW Nitro 1997 ending where everybody hits the ring.
Hmm.
Uh, the learning tree, rated FTR, Death Riders are there, Outrunners are there. It's just completely just Hobbs gets in there. Like he puts Wheeler Yuta through a table. Like it's it was a big, big, big fracas. And I guess that leads to a big 12-man tag team match that was just announced a few hours ago online.
Yeah.
So you've got the Death Riders in the Learning Tree versus the Outrunners, Cope, FTR, and Hobbs
Hmm.
for next week on Collision, which might as well happen.
Best case
I
scenario, Moxley attacks Jericho because he has a huge ego.
Yeah, I mean, I think that honestly, what I feel should be the story of that match, if I were booking it, is FTR or Death Riders don't want to tag in anybody from the Learning Tree, and only do so with blind tags or if they absolutely must.
Hmm.
And then at some point, Jericho gets too big for his britches and pisses off Mox, and then Mox takes his boys and leave. So it becomes a 6-on-3 thing that the learning tree can't overcome. That's probably what, and then they hit the ring after the match is done to lay everybody out
Yeah.
because that's who they are. That's If I was booking, that's how I would do it because to me that makes the most sense. There's no reason. I mean, Tony Khan makes the match, so he's the one who puts it together, regardless of whether those guys get along or not. That's
Hmm.
fine. You accept that, but like, there's no reason that those two factions should get along
Hmm.
at all. They represent absolute diametrically they're diametrically opposed to each other.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, with the exception of maybe them wanting to try and recruit those guys out from under Jericho, I could see them having interest in. I mean, they show interest in learning.
Hmm.
The person they would have issue with is Jericho doing the teaching. So I could see them with how mean Brian Keith is and how enormous Big Bill is, I could see them recruiting them or at least making an attempt. But
Hmm.
I can't see them getting along with Jericho, so that's how I would book that match. But that's your main event for next week's Collision,
Hmm.
and that's all I got. Like, I mean, there it was mostly good. I really do think it was mostly good, but just Jericho at this point is just,
Yeah. Kind of
I
sending the
mean,
show out sour.
yeah, a little bit. It's too
Mm,
bad,
that is.
but that's your match, guys. That's your tag match. You
That
got your
is.
lockup, you got your shine, you got your morning, and you got your hot tag. Now it's time to what, Aaron?
We do like the veterans do, and we call it in the ring.
All right, so our calling in the ring segment for our newer listeners. I know there are at least a couple of you. Uh, our call in the ring segment ends every show with a freeform segment that's different every week. You're going to get something brand new, brand spanking different. You never really know what it's going to be from week to week because we won't tell you what it is. So you tune in to find out. See, that's marketing,
Yeah.
I think. Um, but yeah, this is our first episode back. Brand new season, season two, episode one. Brand new year. Still not even halfway through January 2025. So we decided, in the spirit of the new year, we've got a whole year ahead of us. Thinking back on the year behind us, what would we like to see more of in the wrestling sphere in the year to come, and what would we like to see less of? We're going to try and be as positive as we can about this, though. Just because we want to see less of something doesn't mean we're going to just be peeing and moaning for 5 minutes. We're going to try and keep it upbeat because that's while it's against our natures, we are cynics really at heart. We are trying to do this to be better, more positive people, and we want to improve the wrestling space not just for us but for everybody. So with that in mind, Aaron, we'll start with you. What would something that you would like to see more of in wrestling in 2025?
Okay, so in 2025 in wrestling across all promotions, and I think this is probably the coldest take in the universe because I think it's one that everybody's had for a while, but I want more women's wrestling across both promotions that we cover.
Yes, yes, yes,
Gosh, I
yes.
want more
Total
women's
agreement.
wrestling. Despite the fact that there's a couple of people that I am not that are generally liked that I'm not a fan of in these divisions. I want more. Like, okay, we have two women's divisions for the stuff that we covered that are just fantastically stacked to the
Top
brim
to
with
bottom.
amazing talent. Amazing talent. We have so much talent in the women's divisions that in some cases, uh, like the women's mid card division of AEW, kind of eclipses the talent of the men's mid card division of AEW. And I'm not saying that the men's mid card division is bad or even that much lesser. I'm just saying, like, what I'm interested in, what's really catching my eye, what's really making sense storyline wise, and what's having good, consistent stories and matches is the women's divisions across both companies. I want more. Stop stop giving. Okay, I'm not downing on Will Ospreay. I love Will Ospreay. Okay.
Yeah.
But stop giving Will Ospreay 30 minutes at the beginning of a show and then the following women's match gets 10. Like, stop that. Like, let's give them 30. Give the women the exact same. I mean, I'm not saying maybe go as far as like splitting the show so everybody has an equal number of matches. I understand that there's a lot more men's wrestlers on these rosters than there are women. I understand that. So I understand, like, but maybe one more match per show for the women, maybe two
Yeah.
instead of one, maybe give them more time, maybe just concentrate more on the women's divisions. Like, if we truly want wrestling to be an equal space and truly want people to take women's wrestling seriously like we do now,
Yeah.
we got to give them more time. I want WWE to go back to having that Evolution pay per view every year. And I need AEW to do at least one like it. I know that we don't want to, put these things in direct competition with one another, but by God, both of them need a women only pay per view. Okay, we had We had a women only thing here at the local indie every year called Babes versus Breast Cancer. It was always one of our most well attended shows. Always one of the places where we made the most money. And we were proud to make more money on that show to give to the breast cancer research charities than we were to, be profitable in a year. Um, it, Even if you don't make these charity shows, though, you should at least give it back. Like, let's get Evolution needs to come back. Women's wrestling in AEW needs to be concentrated more on. Maybe give them a pay per view. Maybe split All Out and All In. Um, where one's a
That's a
women's
great idea. I
one's a
like
men's
that
show.
idea.
I just I really like we gotta have more. Like, you have too much talent to ignore it at this point. We cannot limit the women time wise or number of match wise anymore. I mean,
Hell, you know what? I would even take one of those Battle of the Belt specials, rename it, and have it just be all women, and
yes,
have those
yes,
like quarterly.
yeah. I mean, if anybody,
Something.
and if anybody wants to say this won't work, bullshit. NXT has been doing it for a
Yeah.
whole year. They've been,
Yeah.
and it's been good. And honestly, you know what? Like, I used to kind of laugh off when Adam Wilborn on What Culture consistently says like NXT is one of the best products in wrestling, or it is the best product in wrestling. They give everybody equal time over there, and it's a fantastically good wrestling show. As far as shows that AEW fans would like if they ever went back to watch WWE, I suggest all AEW fans go back and watch NXT. Just go back and watch NXT. You don't have to watch Raw. You don't have to watch SmackDown. Watch NXT if you want to see a wrestling show and you want to be able to support both companies. Like, just do it. And you're also going to get that level of women's wrestling that you want. You're going to get the level of graps you want because these guys are all super seriously talented. They're not down there for no reason. Um,
Not
so,
anymore, anyway.
but anybody saying that like there's no feasible way to change the wrestling landscape in this way,
That's
bullshit.
garbage.
NXT has been doing it for over a year. Somebody who books one of the major two, like Triple H, needs to pay more attention. That Sean should be grabbing Triple H up by the collar, like, look what I've done, copy it or something. Christ, you know.
It's so funny. It's so funny too because I remember when Sean came back. I remember all the rumors going around that he didn't even want to be like anywhere near any of the women because he was like he was afraid of his past. You know, he
Mm,
was born again Christian. He didn't want to be tempted and all this stuff. And now look at he's like a dad to like all of these 20 something incredible female wrestlers.
yeah,
Like
I will.
I wouldn't have called that in a million years.
No, I won't go so far as to say NXT has the best and most talented women's division across the three rosters. I won't. But I will say that the way the NXT women's division is presented is the best presentation of a women's division across even New Japan and TJPW and Stardom, and like I know some of those are women per specific promotions, and NXT is still doing their women's wrestling better. I'm sorry, they just are. They're putting the women alongside the men as if they are equals, and nobody else is really like, as much as we're saying the women's revolution and we love women's wrestling and all this stuff. Women are still only getting 15 minutes to an hour for the men on each show, and they're not being presented equally. NXT is doing that. So what I want to see across the board, across everywhere, is more of that. I would even I wouldn't be, because I know WWE won't do it. I know they won't, just because of the way they operate. But I wouldn't even be opposed to the idea of Tony like opening a developmental company that is just women, like a Glow or something like that, because he would be the one to do it. I really wouldn't trust TKO and Triple H to do that. But I feel it would be safe in the hands of like somebody like Tony Khan. So why not? Um, but then again, I also want Athena on AEW television and not ROH. Uh,
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that we could shore up in both of those divisions. There's a lot of pluses and minuses on everybody's women's division. NXT is doing the best presentation, and I think everybody needs to at least follow suit and get on par with that. over the course of the next year, if not exceed it, as far as presenting the women goes. Because to put it simply, like I stand Willow, we stand Willow around here.
Oh, absolutely.
There's not a lot of dudes in any company that I consistently root for in a way that I root for somebody like her. And that's an indication to me that they need more time.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so yeah, that's what I want to first and foremost, what I want to see more of in wrestling this year is more time for the women, please.
Well, mine goes kind of hand in hand with that to a degree. Um, it's something that I feel is cyclical. Um, it used to be, especially in AEW, it used to be a big part of their identity when they first hit the scene. Tag team wrestling was an enormous part of their identity. It was main eventing shows. The tag team title belts meant something. And not that it doesn't mean something with Private Party. It's a good step in the direction. But like, there's so many working parts of any wrestling promotion that if you're paying attention to one thing, invariably, not everything is going to get equal attention. And I understand that. But considering what tag team wrestling meant to AEW's specifically identity and
Mm-hmm.
how much WWE, it's meant a lot to WWE at various eras. And people tend to love those eras and love those tag teams in particular. That should be, again, an indication that there's something to be mined there,
Mm-hmm.
that people will pay to see tag team wrestling. I know Vince's mindset was, well, why do I have to pay four guys for one match when I can pay two guys for one match? I get that from a business perspective,
Mm-hmm.
but what if that's the case? Why have tag team wrestling as part of your product at all? You know why? Because there's still an audience for it. I'm that audience. I love tag team wrestling so much. There have been so many great tag teams, and they're just as legendary and notable, and have as many moments that have been made in the history of wrestling. I mean, often they've been the top draw of a territory. Freebirds were the top draw of any territory they went to. You know, it's not. I just see such a lack of focus on it. That there's a little bit more focus now, but I want that to ramp up. I want there to be the focus on it like there was in 2019 in AEW. I want it to be a major part of the show. That if it's not main eventing, it should be semi-main eventing and have accompanying storylines that justify that placement on the card.
Mm-hmm.
They have way too much talent on their roster. They have a huge bloated roster. Why not pair off some of those guys? And count the trios in there as well. Like, pair off a bunch of those guys. If you got nothing for them as a singles creatively, shove them in a tag team or a trios team with somebody. Get to that Attitude Era mentality, and I can't believe I'm invoking his name, but the one thing that he did right, Vince Russo gave everybody a reason to be on the show. It may not have been a good reason all the time.
No.
It may have been a silly, stupid reason sometimes, but everybody had a motivation, everybody had a character, and everybody had a story. We should try to get back to that. And one of the big ways to do that is to create and sustain and foster tag team and trios wrestling. That's a big thing that I would love to see coming back in 2025.
Right. That's literally on my list. Actually, also more
See, this
concentration
is
on
this
tag
is
team
why I
division.
told you to do more than just
Yeah.
that, just in case we had overlapping stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All
All right,
right.
so Aaron, it's your turn. We'll do the sandwich thing.
Mm-hmm.
What is something that you would like to see less
Oh
in
man.
wrestling in 2025?
I sometimes I'm the hot take guy and sometimes I'm the cold take guy. I think because I don't think I'm alone in this. It might be a lukewarm take, but I want to see less factions in 2025.
Yeah.
I want to see less factions, man. Like I would ideally love it if like WWE could pare down to where the only faction is the Bloodline, and AEW could pare down to where the only faction is the Hurt Syndicate. Um, I I've just had it with factions, man. Like I'm not down on them. I really like some of the stuff that's come out of some factions. Like I like the conglomeration as a group. I don't like that name.
I
Um,
I think it's perfect for them because it's a dumb name for a bunch of weirdos.
yeah,
I think it fits them perfectly.
like I don't think it ever needed to
You
be
and I differ
official
on
though.
that.
I don't think it ever
Yeah.
needed to be official. I like the conglomeration, but
Yeah.
like I don't need like obviously the House of Black's kind of on its way out. We've done things this week to make Buddy Murphy and Brody King both look like, I'm sorry, Buddy Matthews and Brody
You
King.
pulled an
I did
osprey.
it too. But we've done things this week to make them both look like they're headed into a singles career. And Julia obviously can go and do her own thing anytime. Um, so we're
I would actually like it if she still kind of had an association with Brody, though.
Oh, I would love if they
I
stuck her and Brody
I
together
love
again.
their dynamic, that the like
I do too.
brother sister dynamic. I think it's great.
Yeah. So I like that, and I hope they keep them together. But like we can see that House of Black's on the way out, and now
Yeah, yeah.
like we've got the conglomeration, we've got the Hurt Syndicate, and we've got like, but like I mean, we can flip it on its head too for WWE. It's the same over there because we've got the Bloodline and we've got the Judgment Day. We have two separate Hispanic specific factions, which is weird that there's two of them. Because with the latest developments in the tag division, neither of them are heels now. Like the Garzas are
Eh,
kind of like playing a role of faces because they're kind of unknowingly caught in the middle of DIY schemes. So that kind of makes them a face because DIY are like
yeah,
the
because they've got
brain
sympathy
heels.
because they were
Yeah.
screwed.
And then the other one has Rey Mysterio in it. So of course they're a face faction,
Oh yeah,
period. Um,
yeah. Nobody's gonna
so
boo him unless he's the last guy in a Daniel Bryan-less Royal Rumble.
pretty much. So yeah, but they've also got Judgment Day, and I don't like Judgment Day. We've already talked about that enough, but um, it's just I feel like I want people to be paired off into trios and tag teams, like you said, so that there's more concentration on tag team wrestling and trios wrestling across both companies. But I feel like maybe we drop a bunch of the labels and just put people together. Like I kind of like the way that I don't kind of like it. I really like the way that Tony Khan transitioned Top Flight out of being this 5-person group into being two separate tag teams that don't like each other.
Yeah,
I
that
love
was
the way he did that.
that
And
was low key one of the better stories of the last half of the year that nobody's talking about. I thought
I
it was
don't
really well done too.
I hate their jackets, but I don't think anybody's talking enough about how Action Andretti and Leo Rush are a fantastic tag team.
Yeah,
They
they
are
were made for each other.
really good. Yo, they were. They were. It was like they were born in the same freaking womb, and one of them is like one of them is just this super aerial athletic kid, and the other one is a super good vet who knows his way around a ring, but moves unlike anybody else in this business, and he is so fast,
I
quicker than
know
a
he's
hiccup, as
incredible.
Jr. would say.
He's incredible. Leo Rush is incredible.
He really is. This tag team's really got me coming around on him, but it's mostly because I don't like his personality. I think other angles and stuff he's done have leaned too heavily on his personality and too little on his wrestling. I am coming around on him now because we're leaning heavily on his wrestling in these tag team ventures, and I like it. It's good.
Yeah,
I mean, the man
yeah,
really does move like nobody else in the business. I've never seen anybody who works a match like he does. He does some of the craziest reversals. He takes moves in ways that I was just not aware you could take a move that way.
yeah. The
Like,
way he just moves around the ring, evading things, and
mm-hmm.
walking on his hands, like to using his lack of stature to his advantage.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah,
brilliant stuff. He's a brilliant wrestler.
yeah. So like I want more of that, I guess. But less factions by way of let's break up some more of them into tag teams. Let's break up some more of them into trios. Let's kind of shave down on the factions a little bit, guys. Like WWE needs to do it, but factions have been like a part of AEW's backbone since the very beginning, and so I
Yeah.
understand how this might be a difficult proposition, especially for Tony himself or a hardcore AEW fan to get behind me on this. I can see why they'd be like, no, because that's kind of been part of AEW's deal. Is like they love factions like WCW loved factions, and I that's cool with that. Like I don't make comparisons between AEW and WCW in a bad fashion. I loved WCW. I was a WCW boy.
Me too. Me
So
too.
when I say AEW is like WCW, that's out of love because I loved WCW. I like that they are similar. I enjoyed it. I'm not Eric Bischoff over here saying he's fucking up the same way WCW fucked up. No, no. They're alike in the best ways. In the best ways. So, but I kind of understand like Tony's mindset. I think he's also a WCW boy.
Oh, he absolutely, it's very apparent.
Yeah.
It is
So I mean,
very apparent.
Sting, come on. What he did for
Yeah.
Sting, bringing Flair back even when he shouldn't, like I mean, he's
Uh,
obviously a WCW guy.
with as many successes across all different avenues that Tony Khan has had with AEW, I think personally, at least to this point, his crowning achievement is the way he handled Sting from beginning to end. Everything about Sting's handling was, well, with the exception of the Ric Flair stuff, but everything else was perfect. It
Yeah.
was absolutely perfect
Um,
and befitting of a legend of his stature.
being the level of Sting fan as I am, because I mean, down in here, there's still a little stinger.
Oh yeah,
Um,
hell yeah,
being the level of Sting fan that I am and loving Sting as much as I do, that actually, the way he handles Sting and Sting's retirement and the way he booked him and everything he did is one of the reasons why I still am watching AEW and why like I didn't let other fans or anybody else drive me off despite, like being aired out a couple of times by famous Twitter people because of my opinion about AEW. Um, it's one of the reasons I still watch because he
there's a
showed
lot of equity that he bought from fans like us with his treatment of Sting because he loves him just as much as we love him, maybe
exactly.
more.
Oh,
I
probably way
mean,
more.
maybe
I don't
more.
have, you know,
like,
way more.
like,
Yeah, but I mean,
I
still,
mean,
I
it's
just
it's difficult to not get behind somebody who loves the same things and people that you do and loves it so openly and passionately and can do something about it.
yeah,
TK's in a position to do something about it, and he gave Sting just the best send off. Like I was crying by the end of the night. It was emotionally evocative, and that's the best thing about professional wrestling is when it's perfect like that and it makes you feel all of the emotions.
Mhm.
Like there's when it fires on all cylinders, there is no entertainment like
Yeah,
professional wrestling.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, so for this year, I just want to see less factions. I think it can be positively spun though. Like I want to see more tag teams and trios out of those factions, or on WWE side, I want to see more of those guys stand on their own two legs. I want the Garzas to be a tag team and not part of not somebody else's lackeys. I think they're a great tag team. They shouldn't be Escobar's dogs. They should just be a good tag team. Akam and Razor are good at being dogs. Like there's a difference, like
Yeah. Yeah.
so I want to see more less factions and more tag teams and more trios, and I think that can be
Yeah.
positive fun. And that I just want to see more of those things. But I do want to see less factions. There's just too many, man. In both places, they're just,
Mm-hmm.
and some of them don't do anything for months at a time. Like, why are they even a thing? If they're not even booked for 6 months. So
Mm-hmm.
let's do some rearranging and kind of clean up that stuff. But yeah, what about you?
Uh, you know, you just said a minute ago. Sometimes you're the hot take guy, sometimes you're the cold take guy. I'm going to be the cold take guy. This is a lofty goal, but I would very much like to see a reduction in WWE versus AEW tribalism. It sucks. It
Man, I'm so
sucks so much. Like, I get the reasons why people don't want to watch WWE because I'm one of those people. But if you've noticed, I don't harp on anybody's decision to watch WWE. In fact, I invite them to watch WWE if that's what they want to watch. I also invite them to watch AEW so that we have something to talk about. But I don't dissuade anybody from watching WWE. I don't go out of my way to harp on the reasons I don't. I will explain it if I'm asked, but I don't judge anybody for following them for any reason, really. Um, the judgment comes from how you do it. Like, I hate people picking a side as if that means anything. Like, it's just not. It's like people saying, like, they they feel like it's like their team. It's like the okay, the Yankees are my team. They're not. You don't play for the team. You're not getting paid. It's you don't own it. You don't operate it. You don't have any way any way in. It's not your team. It's the team you root for. It's
yeah.
not your team. These are not teams. They're just wrestling companies, okay? And
Mhm.
everybody has a finite amount of time that they can spend watching it. They should be able to choose to watch whatever they like, however they like. But you do not have a right to blast anybody for the decisions they make on simple viewing pleasure. Like,
Mhm.
I like AEW. Okay. And like, well, tribalism does literally nothing. It doesn't fuel the industry. It doesn't make anybody feel good. It and those wrestlers, the majority of the wrestlers that you are so busy defending, they just want everybody to get paid. They don't care. Most of them don't
Mhm.
care as long as they and their friends can make enough money that they can feed themselves and their families and make a nice living and be comfortable. That's the majority of them. So those people that you are so vehemently defending are laughing at you
Yep.
for your behavior.
Yeah. Because there's very real possibilities in the world. Like, I mean, go back go back 6 years from today. 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. AEW doesn't exist yet.
Mm-hmm.
The Young Bucks have had a tryout match at WWE,
Mm-hmm.
and it didn't work out. Kenny Omega was supposed to be part of the deal, and all of that didn't work out. Um, okay, let's change the timeline. It does work out. Are the same people still holding that same energy?
No,
Not at all.
no,
No, they're watching
no.
WWE every week with the popcorn dog, and they love
And
WWE.
And furthermore, half the people who are employed now are not employed because there's only one place to work and make that kind of money.
Exactly. Exactly. Like, I mean, yeah, I mean, but still, it wouldn't change it. They're not going to
Yeah,
only watch New Japan.
yeah.
No, no, they would
Are
definitely
those
be
are
watching
those
Kenny and the
what are those
Bucks.
people going to watch TNA? No,
No,
no.
no. And line up 30 people right now, and all of them could say, I watch TNA and I'm going to believe too.
Yeah,
That's
I'd
where we're
be
at.
I'd be giving the people's eyebrow every single one of them.
Yeah. Yeah. You watch, okay, really? So what's going on over there? Because I don't know. Um, but,
I know
like,
very very little about TNA.
yeah, I
I
just
I
like,
know enough from the dirt sheets to kind of follow along with who the champs are, but that's about it.
yeah. Like, okay, I have a real world example of this tribalism. Okay. Like because I saw it just the other day and I was kind of like, what the hell? Um, at one of the Christmas time house shows for WWE, I guess Rhea Ripley had a match or tag match or whatever. and she was goofing around and like twerked in the middle of the match.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, I saw the TikTok on it.
And there
Yeah.
were people like going, "Oh, that's terrible for women's wrestling." And when someone mentioned it
Eh.
to me, I was like, "Do those same people keep that same energy when Mina Shirakawa starts shaking her chest on AEW?" Because I mean, it's basically the
It's
same
the
thing.
same
It's both
thing.
of them just moving
It's
parts
the
of their
same
body
thing.
because they're having fun at their job. And
Yeah.
so if you're not keeping the same energy for both of those things,
Yeah, you're
that's
just
what we're
telling on
talking about
yourself.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, for me it's just like let people enjoy what they enjoy. Cool. Okay. Don't make it hard for other people to enjoy things. Like
Exactly.
there shouldn't be people flooding the WWE hashtag on Monday nights to tell me that I'm a piece of shit for watching Raw. Like it makes it hard
No.
to exist, and it happens even on Blue Sky. Like it makes it hard to exist.
Yeah. I
Um,
understand that a lot of people on Blue Sky were chased away from Twitter and found a home there. And so
yeah,
they probably feel camaraderie. They probably have a little bit of PTSD, if we're being completely honest. And so I understand the defensiveness,
yeah,
but that doesn't that doesn't condone you chewing out random strangers on the internet for something that they're sitting at home watching, not hurting anybody. Like just be
exactly.
it's what do they say? There's no ethical consumption under capitalism anyway.
Yeah, true.
Everything has caveats, things you don't know about. Okay, like just because TK, seems to be one of us doesn't make him any less of a billionaire.
I mean, if we want to open a can
Okay,
of worms on TK, we can talk about his involvement in the NFL and the problems that the NFL has historically had as an organization, and it can start right there.
yeah,
I mean, we could all open cans of worms on each other, and we just shouldn't. Like,
no,
just
because
enjoy what you enjoy.
nobody wants to be swimming in worms. That's
No,
disgusting. We're not the
nobody wants to do
boogeyman.
that. I'm not here
Come on.
to fucking dunk on AEW fans because I am one. But
Yeah.
even if I wasn't an AEW fan, I'm not dunking on AEW fans just because I watch WWE. I mean, I watch both. There's not a lot of people that exist in the sphere that I exist in. It's a weird Venn diagram section to be in. Um,
You
because
happen
there's
to
not a
have a
lot of
lot of time.
there's not a lot of people that have the time and the will and the want to do both. And sometimes I don't. Like if they are overly featuring Logan Paul or somebody like that, I don't want to do it. But at the same time, like I just like I feel the hate on certain aspects of WWE and I feel the hate on certain aspects of AEW from tribalists on both sides. But we have to understand, especially like on Blue Sky over here, where I live for social media, like all of us were driven away from Twitter by that bullshit.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Don't
just
bring that here.
it wasn't just the AEW guys. It was
No.
those of us from WWE who aren't mad at you for watching AEW. We're also sick of all of that. We just want a regular wrestling discourse also, and it should be afforded to us and you as well. It's not exclusive to one side and one platform, and it should be that way on Facebook and Twitter too. But it's fucking not. Like I
No.
explain these problems to my wife, and she's like, it's the exact opposite for her with WWE fans on Facebook. Like they're real dicks over there, and they're always shitting on AEW. So I can understand why all of the AEW people have kind of moved to Blue Sky. I get it, but there is a pretty fair amount of people who watch both or do just watch WWE over on the Blue Sky side. That we got driven away by that stuff too. We should all be more understanding of one another. We
Yes.
should all, I mean, it should happen on all platforms, but especially here where we have a chance to really create the community that we want.
Hmm.
This, I hate that side shit has to stop. We got to start with we're wrestling fans. We like to watch wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So let's finish this off with each having one more thing that we want to see more of. So what do you want to
Okay.
see more of? What else?
Well, let's see. We got a few minutes left, so to make it quick, okay, I'm going to get AEW specific here just to prove to you guys like I love AEW also. This is something I want more of, and I'm just going to be fun with it because it's something I can be short about. I don't have to make it all long. I want more Daddy Magic on commentary. Can we please
He's
just
great.
always have Daddy
He's
Magic on
great.
commentary, please? He is. He's so great.
He's got
I love like
such energy.
he's
I've
smart
never,
ass as hell. I need him
yeah,
and Nigel all the time. I
yeah.
always need him and Nigel on the same desk. They play off each other so well. Daddy Magic is like the smart ass good guy commentator, and Nigel's the smart ass bad guy commentator. And you can stick Tony Schiavone or Excalibur in between them. I would prefer Schiavone for Collision and Excalibur for Dynamite. And I that should be your 3-man teams right there. But I always need Daddy Magic at the desk. And I kind of always need Nigel at the desk, but really, I just want to see more. Nigel's always there, so I want to see more Daddy Magic. I just I don't need him to do anything else. It would be cool if he got back in the ring. I would root for him because of his time on commentary, but I need more
Yeah.
Daddy Magic on commentary. That I really want. I love him to death on comment. He's so funny,
I don't
and
understand how a Quebecer like him sounds like he's more from my neck of the woods.
that's what I thought too. I was like, he has
Like
like this New York accent.
yeah, like it's him and RJ City, who's from Toronto. They both sound like one. Daddy Magic sounds like a like somebody in the mafia, and RJ City sounds like somebody you'd be meeting down at the Jewish Community Center. Like it's very strange. I don't know what's going on in Canada. They all want to sound like New Yorkers for some reason. No, I love Daddy Magic. He's great. I'll keep mine short too. Also AEW specific, no surprise there. I want more from Renee Paquette, not from her performance. I want acknowledgement because everybody knows that she's married to Jon Moxley.
Oh boy,
Jon Moxley is an attempted murderer, and nobody is calling Renee out. Why?
bro,
She should either not be on TV or she should be persona non grata with everybody that she works with because of Moxley. So I love Renee. I think she's a doll. I think she's one of the most professional, one of the most with the most gravitas interviewers to ever do it. I think she's incredibly talented. She shouldn't be on TV during this Death Riders thing.
no.
Either that or she should be run up a rail for her association with a known attempted murderer.
Now, question: do you think maybe they're waiting for it to be Eddie to be the one to bring that up? Just based on the history, because Eddie's the one who always brings it to her. Who's like, what the fuck is wrong with your husband? It's always Eddie when anybody says that to her because Eddie's apparently the only one who knows him well enough to say something like that to her.
Yeah. I mean it maybe, but I feel like that time has passed.
I think so too. I think about it every week. I'm like, you're talking to people who are actively feuding with your husband. You say nothing.
Yeah.
You act like he doesn't exist.
Yeah. Oh, I'm trying to keep her professional. What? Dude, your husband is doing things that are way beyond professional. Like, how do you not? You need to bring it up. It needs to be addressed. In whatever form that takes, it needs to be addressed. I want it to be addressed at some point before the Death Riders things runs its course. It needs to happen.
Yes.
I don't think that they should make like a divorce storyline or anything. I don't want any part of that. But I do feel like she should be like, maybe I should recuse myself from this situation.
I agree.
And that would be like, hey, call up for Lexi Nair. Awesome. Go get it, girl.
Yeah, I agree on that. But with that said, that was our Call It in the Ring for the week, and that was our season 2 premiere. We appreciate everybody who's listening. We will see you next week before Raw as usual. And remember, we love you. Be better, do better. It's a new year.
Peace out.
Peace.